Yeah, so I suppose I just needed a restart. Seems to be working now. I don't know what it was. It was something with Streamlabs. It was my microphone test was working, but um I don't know, Streamlabs was just refusing to pick it up. Thanks for pointing that out, JD. Really appreciate that, man. I wouldn't have caught it without you. Let's get Windows back up. All right, everything's back up. Looks like I got sound. Get something on the TV. Can't believe you betrayed me, Streamlabs. All I gotta say, it's been working out better than OBS so far. So, I can't complain too much.
Round him. Their language is indecipherable, their thoughts lost to him. He tries to speak with them, yet his words bring anger and blows. The creature's hands are stayed, however.
I'm trying to follow this. It's just, it started with a Brainiac Save the Multiverse
under the water,
bit,
she
and
leaves
now
them with
it's...
one last parting. Goodbye, my loves. In the growing storm, Arthur calls for his mother yet. She is already gone. The blood wreath now. On a piece of alien coral floating in another dimension, Arthur Curry is bound in chains. Strange creatures from an alien sea surround him. Their language is indecipherable, their thoughts lost to him. He tries to speak with them, yet his words bring anger and blows. The creature's hands are stayed, however. His death belongs to the Ocean Lords, Admiral Tin states, using her power to drown the creature as Arthur looks on in horror. You would kill your own men? What kind of queen are you? But Tide and the other Ocean Lords are not royal. They are the gods from alien oceans, come to Earth to see its destruction. The others check in, and Captain Gall informs them that their fleet has blockaded the Earth. Commander Dro controls the flood, and soon the Earth will be drowned, and the people transformed into hideous monsters. Arthur begs them to stop. They need not have war. We can have peace. But it is far too late. In Gotham City, the waters have risen. The people are drowning in the streets. Commissioner Gordon struggles to get an old lady inside before she almost drowns, but everyone who comes in contact with the strange liquid is transformed. Behind him, Batman appears. Gordon's men are gone, and Batman informs him that he is coordinating with the Justice League to try and save as many as he can. Batman wants Jim out of there, though. But before his friend can respond, the old lady tackles Jim. She is now a strange fish creature, sending Jim to the watery streets. Gordon emerges, now a monster as well. Shut the door and barricade it. Get to the roof. Batman orders to the survivors and then turns to his friend. Jim rushes the Dark Knight, his claws raised. I'm sorry, Jim, I'll fix this, I swear. And with that, Batman disappears. Meanwhile, over at the Hall of Justice, Batman orders Magan to end the mental transmission that he was sending to Gotham. The League's top scientists are trying their best to figure out a solution, while the rest are trying to save the world. Batman, his body in a cast, is coordinating everything with the help of Magan's mind link. Batman orders an evac of the Hall, and he informs her that he'll be staying behind to guard the totality, the mighty secret of the universe that the Justice League recently acquired. He then begins to check in with the rest of the League. Over in Metropolis, Superman is overseeing the evacuation. Thankfully, Lois is safe at the Fortress of Solitude, but across the planet, moving at blinding speeds, Flash is helping everywhere that he can. The heroes of the world are doing their best to protect the people of the Earth. In Atlantis, Queen Mara fights against her own people, transformed into the creatures that the oceans have never seen before. Her magics keep them at bay while she climbs. She needs assistance. And finally getting high enough, she rips the bars off of the prison windows, revealing the Ocean Master. Orm, are you with me? He agrees. Back at the Blood Wreath, Aquaman's prison, Arthur watches helplessly as the heroes of Earth try to save his people. Aquaman questions the gods why they would terrorize his planet. In the past,
thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, it had something to do with Streamlabs.
They watched as their own worlds died
it was,
without their protection and guiding
the computer
hands.
was picking up sound. It just, for some reason, Streamlabs would not pick it up until I restarted.
They are not alone.
So thanks for pointing that out. I would have been talking to myself all day like a weirdo.
The Legion of Doom sends its regards, Arthur. In Metropolis, protective measures have failed, and the city is now underwater. Floating above it, Superman is contacted by Batman, with the League having pinpointed the source of the alien flood, a strange creature in the mid-Atlantic. His eyes glow red with anger. Tell me where this thing is, now, Clark orders. Superman arrives fast. The creature is huge, made of living water, and it turns its strange eyes on the Man of Steel as he acknowledges it. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're here, but I need you to understand something. This world is under my protection. And with these words, the Man of Steel brings his hands together in a clap so powerful that it sends a shockwave through the beast to dissipate. Yet? I heard that from Coast City. Flash shouts as he arrives at the scene, running so fast that his feet never actually come in contact with the water. So fast, in fact, that he can't stop as the creatures begin to reform around him.
You gotta go see it.
Stop, the Flash
so good.
Straight into the creature's open mouth.
Was worth
Superman
it.
Watches as that creature reforms in the ocean before him, and from behind
I was telling
out. Its name is the Flood.
Thank you, Bot
It comes from a race of Krakens.
I was telling my friends yesterday.
Commander Drogue rises out of the ocean atop his demonic seahorse steed. Drogue wraps his hands around the Man
any
of Steel's
character
throat,
that had been
and
in a
your
shitty
world's
movie
reckoning has only
that
just
showed
begun.
up to it.
Back on the Blood Reef, Aquaman and Black Manta begin to
everybody got a little
battle as
redemption.
Tide watches on.
I was very happy
Manta
with what
taunting
happened.
Aquaman for not knowing his true power. Aquaman doesn't know of what he speaks.
I don't want to
and
spoil
demands
too
them in
much.
fight. Tide agrees and shows
I thought I liked it a
showing
lot.
him Mara. And Atlanta's Mara and Ocean Master are fighting for their lives. With Arthur reaching out to Mara, he tries to warn her. But Orm knows that they are running out of time. He sends her to the Hall of Crowns, where the remains of the greatest heroes and kings of Atlantis rest. He tells her of the legend of Orion. Of the
there were
fight
cameos.
It's
It's not even cameos. There were characters that showed up in that
crown
movie.
of Orion, which should lead them to the
I'm
weapon
not sure,
that the hero used to strike down these evil creatures. Suddenly, the wall crashes inward.
It's
as Captain
2
Gaul
hours and
arrives.
7 minutes.
Mara trying to use her
According
magic
to
to hold
Google.
off the invaders, but Orm knows that it's only a matter of time.
There was a point,
sacrificing himself. He buys Mara time
I got
to
up.
escape.
Let's
Back
see.
on
It was in the
surface,
beginning of the
Drogue is using
movie.
his powers to suck the life out of Clark's body.
I thought I had
out of
enough
the
time to
Superman.
get
the
more
Man of
beer.
Steel is
'Cause I already,
drained and almost
went
lifeless,
through one of
and
my
releasing
movie
him,
theater
Drogue
beers.
watches as he plunges towards the
And
surface of
the
the water.
line to
But
get
the
back
Flash
in
is
was
there.
so long. I
Somehow
missed like the
unaffected
first
by these
maybe
flood
10
waters that are
minutes of the
changing mere
movie.
mortals.
So I
Scooping
want to go
Superman out
back
the
again
fastest
and
man alive
watch
retreats
it.
from the conflict. And in the Hall of Justice,
wanna see it again.
Batman orders Magan to begin
Not
an
even just for the
evacuation,
first 10
staying
minutes.
behind to guard their piece of the source
But-
wall, the mysteries of the universe, the totality. On the Blood Reef, though, Arthur watches in despair as the Earth falls. Triumphant, Tide grabs him, her energy pulling his
I mean,
true power
2
from her.
hours.
The
So if you
power
got a
of the
movie
life
that
force from the
starts
ocean.
around
Ripping it out of Aquaman's
6
body,
o'clock,
she
you could
releases
be
it
out by
into
8.
Black Manta.
You know?
Arthur crumbles to the floor. It's
But then again, you
I can't
also
feel
have
it.
to
I can't feel the
consider
ocean anymore.
like movie
This
theaters.
is what you felt all this time, Aquaman. Black Manta calls
the trailers,
out. You
yeah,
had
the movie
this much
trailers.
power, and you
And
used it
then,
to speak to
you gotta
fish.
consider if
The
you
Earth
buy
has
your
fallen.
tickets
The
online or
Ocean
not.
Lords will build a new empire, and nothing
Like
will stop them.
I
But
think, and
outside,
everybody
the guards
there
see a
too. It
ship
seemed like
approaching in the
bought their
fog.
tickets
Suddenly,
online.
they are cut down by a sword,
So
and a
that
shield
makes a
spins through the
difference.
air with a glowing
So it
lasso
kinda
wrapping
depends.
around the final guard. Now tell
Yeah,
me, or is
and,
an armor-clad Wonder
I
Woman?
remember
Tell
like the
me,
movie was supposed
where
to
the
start
hell
at a certain
is
time, and it was
Aquaman?
like
Back at the
maybe
Hall of
10
Justice,
minutes
Batman is trying
before the
desperately to reach
actual
any
movie
member of the
trailers
league that is left. Trapped in
started.
his hover chair, he
You know,
asks
because they got
Jarl, which is
their
actually a
shitty
portion
little
of Starro
trivia
in a jar,
shows, and
to
the
reach out
person
with his telepathy.
coming
I'm getting
down
nothing,
saying,
Dad.
"Hey,
No
welcome
one."
to blah
The
blah
little
blah."
alien tells him,
And, you know,
the
that
totality is
replays
safe for
30
now, but the
times,
outside
and
walls
then
won't hold
they have the
against
thing
the
that
waters
starts
forever.
before
From
the
the
movie,
static
which is still
finally
the
comes
movie
a
theater
friendly
ads.
voice.
And then you get the real
Flash,
trailers.
thank God. Were you able to defeat the
But
thing?
I
But
digress.
Flash and Superman couldn't even make a dent in the strange alien creature.
Yeah, there's a lot of
What
factors
about the rest
to
of the team?
consider if
They're
you're
right here.
you're on a time
Unfortunately,
budget.
behind them, the rest of the Justice League and the reserves, fully mutated by the aliens' waters, are chasing Flash as he pushes Superman across the ocean. Superman, weakened by Drogue's touch, can do little more than smack some of their former friends away when they get close. But luckily,
yeah, there
he
were
sports
so
an
many
awesome,
people,
simple eye patch
even
now. Suddenly,
outside of the
ocean in front
trailer,
him springs Swamp
characters
Thing,
that
his
showed
body
up
molded
that
into
I just never
tentacles,
thought
caught
would
in
be
his
a thing.
grasp. Superman and Flash are powerless to
But
break
yeah,
free.
I would
How do you
highly
fight a
encourage you
magic
not
fish-down
to
element?
spoil it
Flash
for
yells
yourself
as the
as
tentacles
best you
squeeze
can.
tighter. He's a tree.
It's gonna be
You chop
hard.
him down.
People are gonna be
Mara
talking about
cries,
that
her
movie
sword
for a
severing the
while.
former hero's limbs. We can't take them alone. We need the forces of Atlantis, Superman tells her. But Mara informs the heroes that Atlantis has been destroyed. Using Orion's crown, she transports all of them, hopefully, to where the weapon that will destroy the flood awaits.
to the wrong place. Why did I
On the
go
Blood
over here?
Reef, Aquaman is being made to walk the plank. Below lies the Jarbo Vortex, a black hole in the universe's great whirlpool. Everything is ripped apart in its tides, and the ocean lords stand at his back. Long ago, they walked this plank as well, and they spent eons in the graveyard of the gods before finally breaking free. Aquaman's eyes are downcast.
Yeah,
stripped
but
of his
even
power.
that has got a
already
good
been
twist
broken.
to it.
It doesn't have to be this way. He pleads, but
if that's all you know about Gambit,
You've
that
taken
he's in the
But Aquaman
movie,
isn't
then
done
you're
yet, and
still
he
going to
turns on his
get
captors,
a good surprise
leaping
when you
against
see him.
Gaul. But I live with Batman,
'Cause,
and I've learned a few tricks.
he makes a good
Using
entrance.
his enemy's blade, he severs his chains.
I mean, it's
striking out.
you know,
He
it's,
gathers a weapon, rushing into
if you like the
combat.
Wolverine,
he swings the blade
the Wolverine
against
stuff
tide,
that they're
but
doing
he's
with
stayed by
Wolverine in that
Drogue's
movie,
hand,
you
stopping
might
the
like
blade as if
Gambit
it were
too,
nothing.
so.
With a simple gesture, the god throws Aquaman into the void. But instead of being ripped apart, he is saved, landing on the small ship that Wonder Woman pilots. Get up and sail. We need to get back to Earth, she orders, but no. Aquaman pleads with her. They have to go to the graveyard of the gods. Diana, please. God help us. So be it, she yells as she smashes the key into the deck. But I fear we are charting a course for nowhere. Mera, Superman, and Flash have now arrived at the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth. They are searching for Orion's tomb. It's hidden in that desert where no one can find it. Before their eyes, Flash begins to mutate, his jaw shifting into some sort of fin. Using his speed, he is holding off the infection, but he doesn't know how long he can do it. As his powers begin to return under the sun, Superman believes that he can see the tomb, so Flash runs, uncovering the long hidden structure. Meanwhile, Arthur and Diana are sailing across the hidden rivers of the cosmos, charting a course for the graveyard of the gods. Beneath their hull, the stars transform into water once more, and before them lies a strange palace made of bone. They have arrived. Back in Orion's tomb, Superman pushes inside the entrance. They are looking for the Tear of Extinction, the weapon that will allow them to defeat the Ocean Lords. Mera is shocked. The tomb, it's desecrated and the tear is missing. Suddenly a voice speaks out of the darkness. Black Manta, and in his hand he holds the tear. The only weapon that might save the Earth. Mera rushes towards the villain, her sword raised in her hand, and Drogue is at Manta's back as the tomb begins to fill
I
with
gotta check
flood
that
waters.
out, though.
In the graveyard of the gods, Aquaman and Wonder Woman have managed to escape
watched,
the guardian of this place.
You know, I watched a lot of their initial, not reactions, but just, you know, their thoughts on, you know, Benny shortly, like the day after, you know, the accident he had. But I gotta check that out. Because, you know, going through these old videos, like once in a while, you know, you'll see like Rob or Sal or someone like that pop up. And, you know, it almost makes me want to cry, you know, because it's like they're never going to have those moments again. It's not like he was my buddy or anything, but, you know, you could see that they were all pretty good friends. And, you know, I know what it's like to work closely with people and then have them go away. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out because there's got to be so many. Yeah, dude, you're 2 for 2. You're doing good. You do any better, I'm gonna have to hire you as a producer. You know what I'm saying?
But they now come face to face with the decrypted remains of Poseidon. He's been locked here, never to escape. Aquaman informs the dead god of the situation, begging him to return his powers and show them how to defeat the Ocean Lords. Arthur Curry, if you think I am your savior, then you are already dead. And with these words, Poseidon thrusts his trident into Aquaman's chest. Meanwhile, the Hall of Justice's walls cannot withstand the force against it. Inside, Batman is calling out to any member of the Justice League. Can you hear me? But Jarro cannot sense anyone. Are they okay? The small creature asks, fear in its voice, and Batman tells the little starfish, it'll be all right, we're gonna win. He picks up Jarro's container, and they begin to evacuate. From behind, a blast of energy destroys Batman's chair, and over him stands the Legion of Doom. Meanwhile, Mara, Superman, and Flash are trying to withstand the might of the Flood and the mutated creatures of Earth. They continue to battle, holding back to the end, but Flash begins to mutate farther. His mind now calling out to Black Manta's new powers. And back at the Hall of Justice, Batman has managed to escape, slipping into the trophy room. Lex Luthor stands over the totality, a piece of the Source Wall, the power of creation.
Even if it's just me.
In the trophy room, Batman attacks clad in the old Luthor armor. His fists punching through a wall, sending Gorilla Grodd flying. Visiting
I was around back in the day when streaming was first happening. Actually,
the Joker laughs,
back in 2007, I used to stream live concerts,
Diana has leapt to the aid of
and
Arthur.
it was really cool. I got to meet a lot of different bands. I don't really know anything about music, so some of the experience was wasted on me.
Arthur doesn't understand.
But
Poseidon was only trying
to
use his
favorite
trident
bands,
to imbue him with the power of life, but his
lot of
strength
other
has waned. He stood
weird and
alongside
funny
the
stuff.
hero Orion eons ago
But,
and fought against
you know,
these
so
beings. So why not help
not
now?
only have I
So
been,
Poseidon
like,
tells him the
streaming
truth. When the
behind the
gods
scenes
known
for
as
a
the
long
Ocean Lords
time,
came to the Earth before, it wasn't as
I've always
invaders.
wanted to,
Orion wanted to share the life force of the
share
oceans with
what
the
I love
others, so
about
he
the
sent
world
out
with
the call
everybody
to the
else.
stars. When the others
We live in
arrived,
dark
Poseidon did
days,
not trust them,
and
nor want to share his power.
I really
He tricked
like,
Orion, convincing him to the
sharing the things that give me hope about this timeline here. I think that the future could be made good, regardless of where we are now. So, sorry to get all philosophical and whatever.
But his strength has waned. He stood alongside the hero Orion
I
eons
genuinely
ago and fought
enjoy
against these beings. So
sharing
why
what I
not
see
help
in the
now?
world with
So
others.
Poseidon tells him the truth. When the gods known as the Ocean Lords came to the Earth before, it wasn't as invaders. Orion wanted to share the life force of the oceans with the others, so he
get
sent
Mr.
out the
Meeseeks
call to the
out.
stars. When the others arrived, Poseidon did not trust them, nor want to share his power. He tricked Orion, convincing him
this
that
is
the
a good
Ocean
Mr.
Lords were
Meeseeks?
evil. Together the
Like
two
from,
locked
Rick
them
and
away
Morty?
in the graveyard of the gods.
tried to,
until
because he's
they
like my
escaped
servant,
and became
so
the evil
try to make him
beings
look like
that they
Mr.
are now.
Meeseeks.
What was happening on Earth was Poseidon's fault. There must be something we can do,
he's
some way to
obviously,
make them see the light.
not naked,
but Poseidon
but-
knows what the graveyard can do to a god. They cannot be saved, they must be destroyed. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, Lex has the totality. When suddenly the wall explodes with the force of Sinestro and Grodd's bodies. As they fall to the ground, Batman stands there, Joker's throat locked in his fist. Step away from the totality, he orders. And Joker waves. But Lex now has the power of the totality in his
I
hands.
I love how easy it is to find things. Corporations could try as they might, but the things people love, they're going to find a way to share it. So, especially if they could do it and get away with it, and then stuff 1,000 pop-up ads in it. So, but yeah, I love the manga Berserk, for example. But that shit is so expensive, even like digital. We're talking. I think it was like $17 to $25 a chapter. What are they up to? Like 500 chapters or something like that? I literally cannot afford to read Berserk. So, yeah, I might find other ways to watch it as well. Or read it. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't know who they think I am. I haven't sold that many brain chips yet. But yeah, and the kind of maybe to a lesser degree, like Marvel and DC comics, they definitely don't charge what they charge for like chapters of Berserk, but even then, it's like I struggle to think where I would go to buy a comic book that I would want to read. That's not like Barnes and Nobles. Even then, that's kind of a crapshoot. But I do like the Marvel Unlimited app that has that gives you like access to a bunch of comics, and some of them are ordered in a neat way too, where you could focus on a single character, so you don't have to read through issues of bullshit you don't care about just to see a cameo of a character in a later issue. So that was a worthy purchase for a while. I had that for maybe a good year or two. The DC comic app though was dog shit. But this was like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. Last time I tried the DC app, and that one, like, not only did they just not even have like the older stuff, but the way that they had series out, they wouldn't even have complete arcs, like older arcs out. I don't know if they were just trying to like drip feed some of the stuff to subscribers to trick them into buying more issues. I don't know. It felt like a shit show, but I could complain all day.
He teleports the Legion of Doom away, leaving Batman stunned.
I think half the fan of being
Superman and Flash continue their
half
fight.
the fun
Yet,
of being a
it
fan
is a
of
losing
things
battle, and they know it. Suddenly, Mera realizes that the energy from the Tear of Extinction still lies within the bones of Orion. Using her magic, she forms a blade from the tears. Drogue screams, calling out to his Kraken to destroy her. But it is too late as Mera swings her new weapon. The creature dies with one blow, forcing the floodwaters to retreat. She moves quickly, blade piercing Drogue next. Yet he is strong, and with a wounded cry, he throws her away. They have the power to destroy us. We must retreat. Black Manta protests, but it doesn't matter. The villains are gone. The heroes of Earth now have a weapon to use in this war against the drowned. Back at the graveyard of the gods, though, Poseidon can feel the dark realm beginning to crumble.
Good again someday, right? As long as we just keep picking at it.
There's still time to make this right, Poseidon. Poseidon stares at the former king. Perhaps there is
I definitely don't agree with people like
you
should just pretend like you should love it because you're not a true fan.
Use it as a
love
weapon,
everything that comes out of Star Wars or
fuel it with the
everything that comes out of
make it rich with death.
Insert
Arthur and
famous
Diana have no
franchise.
chance of escaping the realm without Poseidon's help. So with the last of his power, he pushes their craft from the crumbling world. Back on the Blood Reef, the Ocean Lords sense Aquaman and Wonder Woman's escape. Now the heroes of Earth have weapons that can defeat them. They have no choice. Release the Death Kraken! Black Manta calls out. Still trapped in the tomb of Orion, Mera, Superman, and Flash continue to fight their way out. His powers returning, Superman is still wearing the super symbol eye patch, so he only uses one eye for heat vision. It looks cool, so no one says anything. Despite the fact that they killed the Flood Kraken, though, the infectious waters still surround them. When suddenly they are saved, as above them floats Wonder Woman's ship. Ahoy, greets Aquaman. Mera and Arthur reunite, embracing in a lover's kiss. The team sets sail for the Ocean Lords. Flash as Superman dressed as pirates to protect them from the infectious waters because, why not? Everything's gonna be okay now. Arthur knows how to stop the Ocean Lords. Using Poseidon's trident to fuse the Tears of Extinction in Mera's sword, they have a weapon that can destroy them, but he doesn't want to do that. Knowing what happened in the past, Arthur believes that they can end this peacefully. The rest of the team are not quite so sure. To get past their barrier, there is only one way that they can do it. Launch the ships that Orion has hidden within Atlantis, destroying the city once and for all. Arthur believes that it is the only way. They have to destroy Atlantis. The team agrees on the plan when suddenly above them the sky split open, and from the depths of another realm emerges the Death Kraken, its massive tentacles reaching forth into our world. Commander Drogue, if they
hey, Bravo.
You may set the beast upon them. Tide calls
hey,
out.
sorry I missed your
Diana
message yesterday. I was helping out a
Aquaman,
friend
Mera,
with something.
Superman, and Flash will hold back the Kraken. Wonder Woman dives, and the rest set sail for battle, fighting to hold the world against the tide. In the depths of Atlantis, Diana tries to unlock the towers, but it is assaulted by Cheetah. The two begin to lock into battle, with Diana knocking her enemy away, quickly trying to continue with the lock. A claw slashes at her back, though. Then blood is drawn. Cheetah roars. The Legion has won. Nothing can save them now, when suddenly a blast saves them by throwing Cheetah away, and standing before them is our broken Batman. Sorry, was she talking? Batman had programmed the teleporters to take him to the League's leader. With Jean off-world, that's Diana. The two then launch the city towers. Aquaman tries again to call out to the gods, pleading with them to stop.
Yeah, what are you up to today, Bravo?
Peacefully.
What's going on in your life?
They ignore them. Beneath them, the waters begin to turn, and breaking the surface, the towers begin to launch. Batman to the Justice League. The towers of Atlantis are making their ascent. You may want to move. Batman orders, and he also wonders if Wonder Woman has any way to steer them. Clinging to the ship, Diana calls out to her friend over the roars of the engine. I'm riding a 4,000-year-old spaceship, Batman. It's safe to say that I'm winging it. The heroes watch below as the ships launch forward, ripping through the barriers of the Ocean Lord's ships. Now is their chance as Aquaman and Mera ride forward to face the gods, while the rest of the League hold back the Kraken. Luther to Manta. The tide is turning in the favor of the Justice League. Finish what we set out to do and I'll teleport you out. But Manta has tasted true power now and he no longer needs Luther or the League. Mera and Aquaman grow closer to the Ocean Lords.
Good for you,
Mera
dude.
calling out for Arthur to finish off their enemy. Yet Arthur still believes that there is a better way. He refuses to kill unless he has to. The Kraken's massive tentacle crashes down on their small ship, smashing it to kindling. But Flash, as they're still holding onto himself, his body mutated, his words little more than gibberish. The Flash deposits both Mera and Arthur on the enemy ship, speeding away to continue the battle. Shaking Mera back to consciousness, she now realizes the tear of extinction has changed her, shifting her heart to the black of death.
I haven't been able to bring myself
there
back
is
to it
another
in a
way.
minute.
He has to
I am
tap into his
firmly in the
power,
grips
changing the
of
tear
Final
back to a
Fantasy.
weapon of light. He is connected to all life.
Oh, yeah.
He
What do you think of my Mr. Meese?
And with that, it's worked.
I think that's
the shell that held the tear of extinction now hums with the force
he's wearing
of life.
clothes.
Arthur hands it back to Mera, surprising her, because long ago,
he's my
the
servant.
monarch of Atlantis called out to the universe. I'm not the monarch. I can't play that role anymore, but you can. See the world as it should be, he tells her. So she places the shell to her head, and despite the death, the destruction around them, the Kraken's massive tentacles reaching out and grasping, Mera sends out a signal to all of the universe, to all that would hear it. Unknown in countless worlds see her vision, a life connected through the sharing of knowledge.
Yeah, so how long do you think it took you total to max out the bingo?
Leash the Kraken, Tide orders. She is ready for a trick, for some act of
it
aggression.
hasn't been out that
Arthur
long.
arrives with Mera, but they are not here to fight. Kneeling before these old gods, his hands offering the trident of Poseidon. You would give us this trident when we claimed your seas, your people? Tide questions.
3 weeks or so.
Arthur would. For the past mistakes of his people. This was the fate of the Trident.
It would have taken me longer,
for the original
for sure.
vision that was sent forth by
Even if I
Orion.
was,
The Ocean Lords stopped, for maybe it is time for a parley. To end the bloodshed. But from behind, the blades of Black Manta find their way into Commander Drogue's spine. Blades that are coated with the tears of extinction.
Good job, dude.
Drogue perishes before their eyes. And retrieving the bone crown that Drogue used to control the Kraken, Manta reveals his
I think
plot.
I'm gonna go be an archer.
Say hi to Earth's new
that's,
sea god. Steel
start
flies
over.
through the air as his blade finds its mark and Captain
Although
Gaul's
I
chest.
should
But another
do my
god
chores
falls. But
first.
before
I keep
Tide
getting
can meet her
distracted
own
with other
end,
stuff I
Arthur
need to
manages
do.
to block the blade with his hand.
All I
The
want
Tide
to
is
do
still
is
wounded.
change my
Manta
class.
stands victorious, the words of Lex Luthor ringing in his ears. The
Got too
oceans
many
are not the
responsibilities.
League's concern. But Manta doesn't care. He has everything now, and as she lays bleeding, Tide takes the powers back from Black Manta, returning them to Arthur. It matters not, though. So what? Go ahead and talk to Fish, Arthur. What good is it to you now? He gloats. But suddenly Arthur appears with the entire might of the Fish Mutated League behind him. Well, when every hero on Earth is a fish, plenty. He orders the other heroes to stop the Kraken. What about Manta? Questions Mera. Manta is mine. Trident and blade meet. The two titans locking blows as the battle for the very future of the planet comes down to these two men. The Kraken will not listen to Manta. He is but a man. And finally, Arthur gets the upper hand, twisting Manta's arm, defeating him.
About the story
Arthur,
of these daily
the Kraken is too powerful. It's going to reach the ocean. Mera is panicked, for once the creature reaches the waters, all life on Earth will end. Staring up at the massive creature, Arthur knows what must be done. Not on my watch.
Only here for
he
your
adjusts
currency.
the ship's course, steering for the massive jaws of the Death Kraken. Arthur carries the life force in him. The chain reaction of hitting the Death Kraken will kill it. He can hear Mera's pleas. He can't do this. He'll die. You call me your queen, will I command you? Come back! Do not do this! She watches as the ship draws nearer to the end, the creature filling Arthur's vision. My heart, I wish you fair winds and following seas. Always.
So,
I will see you again, Mera.
Bravo, no spoilers
the memories of sailing with
in
his
the chat,
father.
but have you
Fill
seen
his
Deadpool
vision.
and Wolverine yet?
He's gone. 3 days have passed since the end of our conflict and the supposed death of Aquaman. The waters have receded and the people of Earth have returned to normal. Vague memories of what happened are all that remain. They know the heroes of Earth saved them and that's enough. But meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice, a statue of Aquaman has been erected in dedication of our fallen hero. Not everyone believes that he is truly gone. Because somewhere, unknown, Arthur Curry washes ashore.
There we go.
Now with the loss of the totality, Earth's heroes are trying desperately to learn the secrets behind the unknown subject. And that quest for knowledge has taken Martian Manhunter Hawk Girl, and Green Lantern John Stewart to the far reaches of space to Thanagar Prime to seek out the Martian Keeper. As the three fly down closer to the planet, John looks around at the massive city, stating that he's only ever heard stories about this place. It's pretty rare that the sight of a place lives up to the dream of it. Hopefully they won't have a problem with them coming. But before John could say anything else, Thanagar Prime's guards, the wingmen, fly down with their weapons drawn, telling them, "Halt!" Martian Manhunter tries to tell the guards that they come in peace, only seeking answers. But the guard shouts, "Many have tried and none have succeeded. Now yield!" Hawk Girl readies her mace, stating that she's really not in the mood for yielding. Are you ready, boys? But before the brawl can start, a voice calls out to the guards to stand down. They are threatening the Justice League of Earth. They have saved the multiverse more times than one could count. We will be gracious hosts. The wingmen lower their weapons, and as Hawk Girl asks who's there, a woman flies down, telling her, "You know
nothing.
My name is Sheora Hall, Empress of Thanagar Prime and the last of the Thanagarian Empire, and I welcome you to the secret core of the universe." With a solemn heart, she looks directly at Martian Manhunter, stating that she is sorry, but the one that he seeks, the Martian Elder, she is dead. Sheara then leads the three through the city, stating that she is terribly sorry that they have come so far. The Martian Elder was a kind woman. She even consulted with her when they took control of their world back from the mad god Animar Sin. She lived to see a brighter Thanagar, so at least there was that. Please forgive her. She should have sent word the moment that it had happened. Martian Manhunter tells her that he understands and there is no need to apologize, but that's when Hawk Girl stops the group, spreading her wings, telling Sheara to look. The multiverse is dying and they need to know everything they can to win. The ink metal in her wings has been glowing bright and strange with a map to something on them. Please state that there is something on them that she can understand.
That movie
or maybe
was great.
there's something in their vaults to help them make sense of what they need to do next. Shara stares at the wings quietly, stating, "By Chathan, the design is beautiful, but I cannot read it.
I did
feel
miss the
bad
first
that
10
you've come
minutes
so far
of it,
looking for
though,
answers, and I
so I had
cannot
to get a
give you any.
second
At the
beer.
very least, you have arrived on the eve of the Great Thanagarian Festival. It would be an honor if you would attend as honored guests." So later that night, as the three of them stand alone, John looks at the architect, stating that he's got to pick the brains of these engineers. Hawkgirl tells him to marvel at it all he wants, but there is something wrong here. Her history may be complicated, but Shiara was the wife of Carter Hall, one of the incarnations of Carter Hall. So if it's true, shouldn't they be the same person? How can there be two of her, two Hawk girls? The laws of nature aren't working here. When one dies, the next should be reincarnated. It's the lore of the Hawk individuals within the DC universe. Martian Manhunter asks, what does she suggest? Forcibly pry answers out of the leader of a planet whose help they might need as the multiverse creeps closer to death. Hawkgirl walks away, stating, maybe she's just being stubborn or stupid, but damn it, she will find out what's going on here. Hope they pack something formal. As the night begins to fall over the Great Gardens, the people of Thanagar Prime gather in celebration, and Hawkgirl asks Martian Manhunter if he's okay. He tells her no, he supposes no. He was mourning, not just at the loss of answers that he hoped to find, but to now be the last survivor of the Martians. Hawkgirl then asks, how about they dance? She has danced in every human civilization that he's ever heard of, and at least 5 that he hasn't. It'll help take his mind off things. Martian Manhunter sighs, stating that there was a dance on Mars that he never quite mastered. His wife, on the other hand. So Martian Manhunter pulls his arm back, telling her that he can't. And that's when Shiara walks over, asking if they're enjoying themselves. Martian Manhunter phases through the ground, telling her thank you for inviting them, but he must excuse himself. Shiara asks Hawkgirl if she interrupted something, and Hawkgirl says no. But Shiara tells her that she can sense that she is lying. Why is that? So, Hawkgirl pauses and then says that she just doesn't really know. She has lived hundreds of years, and out of all of them, she remembers that they were spent with Carter Hall. One of Carter Hall's lives was her late husband, Carter. So, in theory, they should be the same person, but they aren't. Shiara and Hawkgirl should be the same individual. However, the same can be said about her. She saw something on the wings, didn't she? Shiara tells her that it's not a star map, that she is sure of, but instead it's something bigger. Hawkgirl yells, "You're still lying!" As Shiara places her hand on Hawkgirl's shoulder, stating, there's no need to lose your temper. But at that moment, Hawkgirl sees something and says, oh God, before flying off. Shiara calls out asking what is it, and Hawkgirl tells her that it's nothing, she just needs to go. She then telepathically yells out to Martian Manhunter, telling him that they need a side link now. So Martian Manhunter connects with John, and as soon as they do, images of the Martian Keeper can be seen in chains, led by Shiara and her wingmen. John asks, what is this image? And Hawkgirl says that she's not sure. But when Shiara touched her, she got this memory. But that doesn't matter. The Martian Keeper is actually locked away deep in the vaults. So the three of them gather together quickly, with Hawkgirl telling them that there's some secret, something powerful and dangerous, and it may have to do with the totality. The answer is behind the door to the most secure vault in the universe. And that's when a voice shouts out to them, telling them that they will never learn it. Take down the other heroes! The wingmen shoot by, knocking all three to the ground. And as Hawkgirl's mace is taken, Shiara asks, do you realize what you have set in motion? The simple act of seeking the truth is sending ripples throughout the universe. For the multiverse to survive, some things must stay secret. Isn't that right, my love? Standing over Hawkgirl's body is the not-so-dead Carter Hall, the savage Hawkman. But also, at this time, back on Earth, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman have to face their own problem. The injured Starman is rapidly gaining power, and he's about to explode. Back on Thanagar Prime, Carter holds up Hawkgirl's mace, and Shiara tells Hawkgirl that perhaps she will find it in her to forgive her in the next life. Do it, Carter. Carter gets ready to strike, but just then the person Carter is holding turns back into a guard, and she shouts that she isn't the Earth hero. Shiara asks, what in the seven heavens? The Martian got into our minds. Everyone to the vault. As the wingmen gather themselves and take flight, Shiara tells Carter that soon she will restore him fully. She won't let the Justice League destroy all that they have built together. Carter listens, but doesn't respond. Elsewhere in the city, Martian Manhunter removes the veil, reverting the three of them to their normal selves, and Hawkgirl yells that she is so sick of these damn secrets. She held the totality in her hands, saved her from Lex Luthor with a universe of power flowing through her wings, and she still doesn't know why. And now Carter? Martian Manhunter says that it is strange. Carter had no mental shield, but his mind couldn't be accessed. Perhaps it's time that they cut to the dark heart of this place. John then says that with all due respect, this is Thanagar Prime. He's heard horror stories about the vaults here, like how robbers get trapped for decades with no escape. Hawkgirl then asks, so the space cop doesn't want to rob a bank? Shocker. John throws his hands up stating, whoa, it's more than that. This is a violation of sovereignty, particularly if the Corps has a treaty in place with Shiara. Martian Manhunter asks, what if what Hawkgirl saw was true? What if the Martian keep is held against her will? Would that suffice? John tells him, hell, if it doesn't, it should. It's not like they can exactly take my ring away from me at this point. The next morning, lines of aliens form to seek entry into the vault, with one group in particular depositing a rather large shard of the dead planet Krypton. After all the security checks are cleared, the wingmen bring the aliens to their deposit room, and a hand slowly reaches out from the shard. It punches down onto one of the guards, and a second later, John, Hawkgirl, and Martian Manhunter all burst from it, having snuck into one of the greatest vaults in the universe. John says that he really needs to brush up on his isotopes. Making kryptonite out of sheer willpower isn't easy. None of them should hug Superman for a couple of weeks when they get back. The three quickly dispatch the guards and the aliens, but as they fall, Martian Manhunter hears a voice calling to him, telling him that it was foolish for him to return here. But Martian Manhunter, in his mind, yells to the Martian Keeper, telling her, we can hear you. Guide us to your location. As he flies up, she says that their weapon, the risk is too great. The Martian Manhunter says that they should learn the truth. They have to. She has kept it from him when he last came. He must understand what is actually going on in the entire universe.
Alrighty.
But before they could get too far, Shiara flies down, stating that this is the problem with the Earth heroes. They think that they have the right to any corner of the universe. They do not consider the cost of their actions. Hawkgirl asks her, oh yeah? You're one to talk. You made some kind of sick deal to bring back your dead lover. What did that cost? Shiara shouts that Thanagar was destroyed. She used the power here to rebuild a barren bank into a glorious new capital for their empire. She brought together the greatest powers of the universe. Thanagar Prime protects a secret that stretches the history of the multiverse. We have a right to defend it. And John tells her, yeah, funny story. You're all under arrest. Just then a voice calls to John telling him, sorry, but that's not gonna happen. And the three are blasted with green energy. Kilowog stands there holding his ring out telling them, actually, it's you three poozers that are under arrest. And I'm gonna need your ring and a full debrief on whatever the hell you poozers have been up to. As John begins to fight the other Lantern, Shiara charges at Hawkgirl, and Martian Manhunter phases through the group and into the vault. Martian Manhunter looks at the Martian Keeper, bound and locked up with a strange device on her head, asking, what have they done? The Keep says that it's called the Absorbicon. It carries the collective knowledge and memory of the Thanagar race. It has long been one of their most powerful artifacts, but now it is much more than that. It is the key to Thanagar's survival. She told them to run, but if she has to die this day, she will be glad that it will be at the side of a fellow Martian. Now, listen close. To protect a great secret, the people of Thanagar Prime have wielded a great lie. Anamar's sin began the work. The Shi'ara eagerly took over. When the Source Wall was broken, all the Nth Metal had become far more reactive and far more powerful. Absorbicon can make memories real. It takes a great mind capable of holding all of their history and culture, and that is why she was captured. Carter Hall is a lie. The city above is a lie. If others knew how weak Thanagar had become, they would turn on them. Martian Manhunter then asks what truth would they be so desperate to hide? And the Keep says that the reality that exists before them is not the first. It is in some ways. As much a lie as Thanagar Prime above them. There was a multiverse before this one, and its creator, she is coming back. The myth spoke of a universe before their own, a universe shaped into a predatory state by an all-powerful cosmic mother wielding the 7 energies of creation. It was the story of a perpetual universe, dark and dangerous, designed to never die. It was the story of its creator and how she fell. The Malthusian scientist Krona ordered every piece of evidence gathered. They would suppress it, study it, understand it, and prepare. From one end of the galaxy to the other, they would hide her mark, the signature of her true power. The story of Perpetua was the most dangerous secret in creation. The individual that had created the multiverse before
I flip-flop on her
one.
usefulness.
And it should never be allowed to come to light. Should the meaning behind her symbol ever be unlocked, she would rise again. Martian Manhunter says that he doesn't understand.
I did like
the
the
symbol
design
originated
of
from
Perpetua.
Mars, or at least the top aspect of it. It stood for justice. And the Keep then goes on stating that
Kinda
the
went
line
down in a
across
dumb way,
represents the source wall. The 7th line beneath represents the dark energies of creation that were sealed away by Perpetua. The 7 lines above represent their most positive aspects, unbound and vibrant in the universe. For all of history, the balance has remained positive, but the old energies meant to be locked away for eternity, they are reawakening, bestowing new and terrible power upon individuals. Even what Shi'ara has been able to do with the Absorbicon to rewrite reality itself with the memories that Thanagar once was would be impossible without those energies freed. However, she is dying. She is dying, and there is so much more that needs to be known. So listen close, for when I pass and the illusion of Thanagar Prime falls, chaos will unleash itself across the universe. As Hawkgirl and John continue to fight outside, the Keep too continues her stories. She goes on stating that as time passed, the Malthusians evolved into the Guardians of the Universe, and the knowledge of Perpetua was hidden here on Thanagar Prime. However, the Guardians still feared that she would one day rise again. There was a part of the myth that spoke of her great army, a dangerous and predatory race that dominated her universe. That race was built from the DNA of humankind and Martian kind blended together. When the universe was put right, Perpetua locked away. Their species were split apart. Humans carried the fire that Perpetua sowed in them, but it left them weak in body and mind. Martians carried the power that she instilled, but feared the fire of passion in all of its
Fuck you
forms.
too.
Despite
Jesus.
the Guardians'
But
efforts to
weak
keep
in
all of
mind.
this secret, a small group of Earthmen unraveled the truth. The
we're
scientists
doing
understood that
okay.
they were less than they were meant to be, so they found the means to pierce the veil of time. Before Haranmir's curse took their people, so that they could use Martian DNA to re-engineer her army. You see, this is the part of the story that I so desperately wish to hide from you. The abominations formed by the human scientists. They would never be possible without the source of DNA that they pulled from Mars. It would never have been possible had they not abducted you, Martian Manhunter. He steps back shouting, "What is it that you are saying?" And the Keep tells him, "You've seen glimpses of yourself as a boy in a cage. You know I speak the truth. You ever wonder why in all their planet only you were saved by Airdrill's experiment? You were marked by the story of Perpetua. The lie served its purpose and has run its course, and now the secrets that covered it are laid bare. You are ready to face the truth. Though I cannot hold on any longer, Shi'ara is pushing the power to its limit. All that I know is passed onto you." Martian Manhunter screams out, "No! You cannot die!" And the Keep tells him, "I survived the death of Mars, survived tens of millennia, thinking my species had been lost only to find you, rescued through time. I'm glad to have met you, to have known you." The symbol has 2 meanings, doom and justice. You must tell the multiverse which shape to take. Just then, Shi'ara breaks into the vault, shouting that she will not allow this. She will use the Absorbicon to rewrite reality through the Keep. She will make her young again so that she will live forever. And as the Keep passes, the knowledge is passed on to Martian Manhunter, and the walls of Thanagar Prime begin to crumble. Shortly after, John flies in with Hawkgirl, Kilowog, and Kilowog asks, "All right, what the hell is going on here?" Martian Manhunter holds his head and says the world is destabilizing. He then grabs onto Shiara as she tries to rewrite reality, telling her that she must go. This power will kill her. She thought she could master it, but she never could. The only way forward is to rebuild, openly and honestly, and if she does not, she will doom what is left. Shiara releases a blast, knocking everyone back, and then she takes off the Absorbicon, stating that she is sorry for all of this. Let the universe see it then. Let them see how weak Thanagar truly has become. Soon the wingman guards turn to dust. And she tells the image of Carter that she created that she doesn't want to say goodbye. Again. She falls to her knees, stating that she was trying to do what's right, and Kilowog says, "Okay, now she's under arrest." Hawkgirl tells him,
"No, I actually don't know much about that.
The universe is terrified. It has every right to be. Locking her up will solve nothing.
So
we just need to get...
I kind of have... Well, it seems like Marvel keeps changing what they want to do. I'm not excited about Robert Downey Jr. Coming on as Doctor Doom. I gotta say, unless it's one of like the weird what if Tony Stark and Doctor Doom stories where they switch brains or something. I don't know. It just they're both. He played a good Tony Stark, like he's a narcissistic billionaire, right? But I just feel like that brand of narcissism is different from what Doctor Doom is. I don't know that I'll take Robert Downey Jr. Like, Doctor Doom talks like, Doom suffers no indignation. Doom will destroy... You know what I mean? Like, it's... I don't know if Robert Downey is going to be able to pull that off. Unless he's just going to kind of do a whole different take on the character. But I think a lot of us want to see the Doctor Doom that talks in third person. So I'm gonna wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if it changed by the time, Secret Wars came out. But I don't know. Like I guess I wouldn't be surprised if Robert Downey Jr. turns out to be like a Doom variant, So that's my thought on that. I am looking forward to Secret Wars, though, especially with the whole gang back together. So, because it was like impossible to do Secret Wars all this time because they just don't have enough. They didn't have the IP, Between the X-Men being, carted off with Sony, Spider-Man, then you got, the Fantastic Four was owned by somebody else. I don't even remember. Might have been Fox. No, Fox owned X-Men. Sony had Spider-Man. Yeah, see that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay. See, I'm not the only one. My friends were talking about that too. When we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, it just doesn't seem. I don't know. Nobody was asking for that. I feel like that some board executives got together and they're like, "What if we just give him $1 billion, and then he can come back as Doctor Doom? He's rich. He likes technology." I wouldn't be surprised if that's the kind of thinking they went in because he brings in so much money. Like even the bad Iron Man movie still brought in a ton of money. And that's where things get bad, isn't it? Because, look at what happened to Game of Thrones. It started as a pretty good fantasy medieval type show. And, by the end of it, the writers were like, oh, well, we're trying to, get the soccer mom and football fans demographic. The nerds will show up for anything and love it. Like, that is not a good attitude to go in with. But we'll see, I remember when when the Dark Knight came out originally, the one with Joker in it, I was like a lot of people who thought that Heath Ledger was a really strange choice for the Joker. But, he freaking nailed it. No, I don't think anyone's done better since. aside from like Mark Hamill, you know, from the animated series. So, you know, ever since then I try to like reserve judgment until after I see it. But it's like, you know, it's like when they announced the guy from The Walking Dead, Glenn, to be the Sentry. And then, like, they took it back, like, a month or two later. Because, like, no. I mean, I want to see that actor in the Marvel Universe, but the Sentry, though? Really? I don't know. It's supposed to be, like, the Superman knockoff, kinda. I guess in terms of, like, flying around and being strong. I guess it's not that similar, but... Still. Yeah, it was nobody was, like, super excited about it. It was just, like... Alright, make your strange choices. Forget the actor's name who played Glenn. But
out of here before.
Yeah, I love that actor, but it just wasn't a role I imagined him to play. I guess eventually they saw the same way.
It is heart of Perpetua's symbol shines as a portal begins to open and through it. Starman, followed by Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman step out. Starman looks at Shiara, and Hawkgirl says that it's strange seeing them like this. As Shiara says that she's never met him before, Starman reaches into her chest, pulling out her essence. He tells her that he knows that they've never met, but he still knows her. The totality broke the chain of resurrection, splitting her between two lives. Perpetua didn't want them whole. Shiara asks what is he doing, and Starman says what he was sent here to do, to make things right. He releases
you know
the
what? I think it's time we get Nick Cage back in a Marvel
piece that's been
movie.
missing in her since she died at Shiara Hall. It's back inside, but
he doesn't have to be the Ghost Rider, but I wouldn't be mad if he came back as the Ghost Rider.
Shiara then asks, where does that leave her? Did he rip her soul out? The Starman tells her no. The soul is her own. He's simply given it back.
I love a good redemption story.
A leader, and she can still rebuild it without the Absorber coming. Kilowog leans in and tells John, I understand there's a journey that you're going on, and I get that. But next time there's some big, crazy cosmic crap and something goes wrong, don't be a loser and call for backup,
hate
John.
the Ghost Riders, rightly so. He'll be Ghost Riders. Hate Ghost Rider 1 and 2 or don't, but, you know, Nick Cage still showed up and
find what he's looking for. And Martian
made those pieces of shit happen.
Yes, I suppose. But I need to find someone who might be the key to tipping the scale.
Actually, you know what? I would I wouldn't mind seeing the guy that played Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought he was a really good Robbie Reyes. I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s like quality, like, you know, it flip-flops season to season. But the Ghost Rider episodes I thought were always really good.
But there is only
that actor
one end. A place where all
he might be too old for the role now, though, I suppose.
It is called the Promethean Galaxy. However, it is not truly a galaxy. It is a place of gods and giants, as old as creation, and home to the farthest finite border of reality itself.
It's
the Source Wall.
Yeah.
For many members of the Justice League, it was their first time
I want to see him
something
come back someday, but I don't know that they could do he could be the young man version
and turns away. Everyone except
I don't think that character's ever
Her
aged.
eyes remained focused, as if the wall itself is calling to her. And deep down, it makes her want to scream. The ship they're in comes to a stop, and Starman exits, making his way to the wall, telling everyone to get ready and open up the first portal. Starman has come up with a plan to help repair the broken Source Wall. The method? Sealing it with the remaining Omega Titans. He can sense the doubt in everyone's mind, but he's paid no mind to it. He knows that this plan will work. The energy flowing through him is the totality of power in the universe. All of its fundamental forces exist in a spectrum inside of himself. He was sure that it would work. He knew that this would work. He could perform wonders that would make reality tremble, and if he could reseal the Source Wall, the end of all eternity would be prevented. As the first portal opens up, Orion of the New Gods states that he has acted. The Wonder Titan is ready. That's when the second portal opens, and through it, Ganthet of the Green Guardians brings the Wisdom Titan into position. Finally, the third portal opens, and Shiara Hall and the last fleet of Thanagar bring in the Mystery Titan. Hawkgirl watches, stating that this is really happening. This is But before she could finish, she feels a powerful energy running through her wings as she shouts, "No, not yet!" Starman rushes back asking if she's okay, and when Hawkgirl tells him that she's fine, he tells her that it's just anticipation. She's just about to fulfill her cosmic destiny. Are you ready to save the multiverse, Hawkgirl? However, this plan was brought to her attention only 2 weeks ago. Starman sat with her and said that he had a plan to repair the Source Wall, and it involved her. Her wings, they show the map of a higher plane of existence, and that has something to do with the totality. Part of her mind was rebuilt after Luthor destroyed it, and it was restored with the energies of the totality. Now that Starman is completely attuned to the hidden energies of the universe and the defense system meant to keep them locked away, he can see how things in the universe are supposed to be.
Have you caught any of the Cobra Kai show on Netflix yet? Because I absolutely love, I shamelessly love that series on Netflix. It's the Karate Kid spinoff there. They just, for as campy and cheesy as they are, they remind me exactly of the original movies. So I fucking love the Karate Kid, and I love Cobra Kai. I mean, it got, what, 4 seasons or something, so... Just saying, if you haven't seen it,
the Source Wall was a protective bubble between them and the Void. A shield meant to guard this universe
part 1
from
of
the
the
unknown.
season.
And that shield was punctured in the battle with Barbados back in DC Metal. That brought forth the Omega Titans. They were the multiverse's first line of defense. They would find worlds ripe enough with their respective energies.
Yeah, I mean,
absorb them,
unless you're a big fan of
Karate
Kid,
Brainiac
it's not
made a
really
miscalculation in the No Justice event when he
It'd
pulled
be like
the
if,
four teams together.
a Friends movie came out,
She
and it was really good. I just wouldn't give a shit because I never cared about
Hawkgirl
Friends.
asks, what is he talking about? And Starman smiles, telling her that she too is a part of the last line of defense. The Entropy Titan was killed on Earth, but he can channel its energies through her wings. Along with the other Titans in place, they can heal the whole together. He's already discussed this with the rest of the Justice League, and they are currently working with Steel and the Titans. It's not just the League, it's also Oa, New Genesis, and Thanagar. They've all agreed to help seal the wall. Hawkgirl asks if this is already in motion. How can he be sure that it'll work? Starman tells her, because he can hear the heart of the multiverse. It wants this to happen. Hawkgirl then asks what will happen to her. What is on the other side of the Source Wall if she's involved at this? If her wings use her to bind the wall? Starman looks at her and says that is what he wished to discuss with her.
True.
Back in the current time, the Titans are placed along the holes of the Source Wall, with the Martian Manhunter stating that the Titans, they're docile, content, like they know that this is their purpose. A few moments later, Hawkgirl flies out in a full suit of Nth armor. She says that she is in the suit that Starman designed, and that she's gotta say it's surprisingly comfortable. Batman radios in asking, does she know where she's going? And Hawkgirl tells him yes, it's strange, like an instinct. The wall is opening a place for the Entropy Titan, but she can feel it calling to her. This is her place. The energy of the Entropy Titan, it's in the wings. Before placing herself into the Entropy Titan's place, there's a flash in her mind as she sees herself taken away to a wonderful place. She asks what is going on, and Martian Manhunter tells her that it is the psychic world, a construct in her mind, a slice of heaven, she could say. It's made from all of her favorite places. The beings inside of the wall, the ones that bound here for all of eternity, guarding this multiverse. They're still conscious, and he wanted to make it more comfortable for her. If this works before they leave, he will put her into a trance and let her live here in this heaven. She begins to cry, and Martian Manhunter asks what's wrong. She turns back, kissing him, so Martian Manhunter pulls back, telling her to wait. And she tells him that she knows he had a wife, and she's been with Carter in many lives. But this life, it's different. This ending is all hers. She wanted something that she could call her own. She knows it's selfish. Martian Manhunter tells her that no, it's not. There's something wrong out there. Back in reality. Superman stares, stating that he's supposed to be dead. He died in his arms. And that's when Brainiac and his ships appear. Within the ship, Brainiac tells the drones to attack. It was also 2 weeks ago that Brainiac opened his eyes again. And the first thing that he told Lex was that he made a mistake. Lex asked him what did he miss, and Brainiac told him that he didn't understand what he had. He tortured Starman to retrieve knowledge on the 7 hidden energies of creation without understanding that he contained each of them himself. Starman could have been the key to unlock Perpetua from her prison, but know that he is the key to a graver threat. Lex holds up the doorknob, stating that he already has the key, but Brainiac tells him that he's only unlocked 4 of the 7 needed energies. The other 3 are unreachable as it stands. He will explain it in simple terms for simple minds. The Justice League has a key that fits 2 locks. They need to direct it to their lock, to the totality, to free Perpetua. If you're wondering who Perpetua is, she is the being that started it all. She is the creator of the multiverse, and she is not a creator of goodwill. Superman crashes into Brainiac's main ship with Lex shouting that it's foolish to bring the totality in the midst of their enemies. Brainiac tells him that the ship can withstand the Kryptonians' futile efforts. The totality is stirring. She can feel him out there. Over the wall, Hawkgirl readies herself to be locked in place, and Starman tells her that he can channel the entropy energy that they need. The wall will feed on it and seal around her, and soon after this whole affair will be over.
I remember seeing the trailer way back in the day, so I gotta give that a shot
into her body.
I forgot that was out.
A small device hits him from behind. Moments pass before he reaches back to destroy it.
I'm gonna be real curious to see how Arc 2 turns out.
They're gone.
It sounds like it's going to be pretty different
there's
from
a blinding light
the
radiating
original.
from the totality, and then a pair of eyes open. Fury inside of them, palpable, all-consuming. The giants, her great warriors, cry out from the wall, bathed in her energy, expelling it from their now open eyes. Everyone stops.
Studio
Everyone
has
turns to
dubious
see something is
across
wrong.
their titles.
Something that was never meant to be
but
released.
Yeah, I want to check that show out.
The first creator.
I actually haven't heard anything about it one way or another.
She
so
would be sealed in the source wall, but
it's
now she is free.
something good.
And she will not be imprisoned again. The gods of New Genesis can feel themselves being pulled away, but before they can do something, they vanish.
I love the way all the
And that's
lore
when
is hidden in the
Arc
game.
Once there was one hole. Now more appear. Shards of the
Whatever
wall
version
breaking
you wanna
off.
use.
The Omega Titan screaming in pain. And then Gragagadoo. The sound. It's deafening, shaking the very foundation of reality. The death of the source wall echoes in the souls of all of those who are present and beyond. The heroes watch, defeated. As Brainiac's ship fades away, they've lost. And now, the multiverse will die. Later, at the Hall of Doom, Brainiac asks what they should do now. Lex tells him that though it would be obvious.
You know, for all the hours I have into Arc, I've never made it to like a boss. You know, like one of the big bosses.
But not only is this the end of the multiverse,
like not even on easy.
Something else that needs
just
to be
I never get far enough into the game.
Martian Manhunter.
I get to it.
Knew a little prehistory of Lex.
Both online and back when it was affordable to have your own private server.
To prevent Perpetua. As Martian Manhunter stands in the ruins of Sha'an Valley, once the holiest of places for the
I really got to
Martians,
clean up one of my old computers so that way I can.
was sacred. It meant
I'd like to
place
start
of
my own
ancient
Arc
memories.
server.
This place.
Personally.
No non-Martian has ever set foot here.
I
If
think
anyone
I
knew
have a
his kind,
computer
his
that could
friends,
do it.
The Justice League.
But I got to give it a good
Before
cleaning.
you decide your next move, just know that
Both,
by bringing you here, I trust
physically
you right
and,
now more than anyone else alive.
software-wise.
A gun is placed in the back of Martian Manhunter's head, and a voice tells him that that's unfortunate because this is where it ends for you. Memories begin to play out of Martian Manhunter and his family.
Because playing Arc online,
Lex
like on a
Luthor says that he's
PvP
guessing that's your
server,
family.
it's
The memory fades
you
and
get
Lex goes
PTSD
unseen.
after a
I'm
while.
afraid that there
It
will
becomes
be
like
no
a
more
full-time
visits to
job.
memory lane. My
Between
suit
people
projects a
trying to
field
raid your
attuned to
shit.
telepathy, blocking it, along with your shape-shifting powers. You have 5 minutes to explain why we are here. Martian Manhunter tells him,
Like, I love the freedom of it, but I also, because you get that
he was a part of a group
same
called the
freedom
Legionnaires
everybody
Club.
does.
There's no record of it.
Anybody can
no
just
tricks,
wipe you
no
out.
weapons up my sleeve.
Any moment.
Lex stops him and says there's no weapons up his sleeve, but one behind his back. Martian Manhunter holds out Jarro, and Lex says, did you think that you could use him against me? Jarro has already been poisoned by a psychic toxin. Nice try, though. Martian Manhunter pauses for a moment and says,
Oh, I miss
no.
Jarro.
What have you done? Lex laughs,
He's
telling
the best
him, don't be a
Robin,
sore loser.
as far as I'm
Martian Manhunter
concerned.
tackles him, shouting, we need to move. Just then the ground rumbles as a giant creature bursts out trying to bite the two of them. Lex yells, "What the hell was that?" And Martian Manhunter tells him that he didn't bring Jarro here to trick him. Jarro was brought here to fend off the corners. The two narrowly escape, and Martian Manhunter begins to tell the story of the person he met when he was a young boy. He was kept in a cage, and there were many people who came to see him. But with that group was a boy. He kept gesturing to his shirt, and that's when he saw it. The infinity symbol meant eyes and 10 to the 14th power. Infrared light. When his eyes adjusted, he could read what the boy wanted him to see. He said that his name was Albie. Lex ignores the story, asking, "What the hell are those things out there?" Martian Manhunter then explains that they are the Corners, thought to be extinct. They nest in moons and sometimes planets. They feed on psychic energy, specifically on memory, longing, and regret. Jarro was brought to block such emotions during their meeting. Lex laughs, stating, "Regret? The way those things are going, they're gonna feast on you." Martian Manhunter says that he's not wrong about his regrets, but that is not what they're here to discuss. He asked him here to appeal for help for finding the man that he spoke of. If he can find this man, Albie, he'll go willingly with him anywhere. Lex says that there are many men named Albie. Hell, 3 work for him. Do you really expect me to believe that? Martian Manhunter places his hand on Lex's gun, telling him, "I do, because it's true. This place, as I said, was sacred to my people. I came here once every 10 years to pray. We would come together and take bad memories from the great mind, our most painful ones, our regrets, and chant Sha'an, Sha'an. The memories would go into the ground where the Corners would feed on them, and they would chant those words until the memories disappeared." Lex then says that it sounds like a religion that he could actually get behind. Dwelling on the past, where does that leave you? Martian Manhunter tells him most often, alone. When he felt alone, the boy would appear before him. He would ask Albie where they were, but Albie said that this place doesn't have a name. His uncle is the one who runs it, but it's for the good of mankind. He then asked what did they want, and Albie told him a sample. One where they can make something from Martian and human DNA. Albie also said that no matter what, they're never going to leave this place. Something about them all getting arrested or killed by the Blackhawks. They've been trying to stop his uncle's work for years, but maybe they could pretend they could leave. They would escape into their minds, a place where they were free and they were heroes. Just then the corner screeches, and Lex says they do not have time for this story. Tell me how to escape this place, or I swear that. But Martian Manhunter stops him, telling him, "I am telling you how to escape. Just listen. One night the scientist came and told me that I was going to be set free. Except Albie was crying. His shirt read that he was sorry, that they were going to kill me. Albie tried to stop them, but they wouldn't listen. He sabotaged it so that when they pressed the button, it would send me away. He told me to remember that they all weren't bad. And then one last message appeared in that infrared. Albie said his real name. He told me his name. He turned it around and it read Alex, short for Alexander. Albie was short for LB, meaning L2. Luther number 2. Alexander Luther 1 was Lionel, your father. You're Albie, Lex. You could stop this." Lex stares, telling him to shut up, but Martian Manhunter tells him it's true. They took your memory. Lex punches Martian Manhunter, shouting for him to shut up. The confrontation caused a psychic ripple, and the corners quickly attack. Martian Manhunter takes Jarro back, stating that this is their only chance, and they can control one of these beasts. But Lex tells them that the slimy beach trash is useless. They need to. One of the corners then lunges at Martian Manhunter, but as he dodges, he slaps Jarro on top of it. And Jarro weakly says, "I am not slimy." The two jump on the corner, and Martian Manhunter yells that Jarro did it as they escape. Martian Manhunter shouts that they're almost there, but he must hear the rest of the story. After the escape, the Blackhawks came for his father and his team. They let him live, but they erased his memory of the whole ordeal. They left him with nothing more than a sense that he had once been a part of something grand. Left Lionel a drunk and broken man. The father you knew, that you grew up in the shadow of, but he'd taken precautions. He left you something, a clue, a relic that you've been using, a piece of the totality found in the past. You once told me that humans were good, that you were good. The Martian keep wiped my memories. Both of us were taught to forget the pain, the regret, the hurt. It's who we are. It allows us to reach higher together. As the corner gets closer to the two portals, Martian Manhunter says that they did it side by side. "Don't go to your portal, Lex. Come with us." Lex struggles to make a decision, realizing that in his past he worked with Martian Manhunter, that there is good in man. But as the corner crashes, Martian Manhunter jumps through the Justice League portal, and Lex jumps through the Legion of Doom portal. As Martian Manhunter lands, Batman asks, "Did it work?" He tells him that he should have told everyone his intentions, he just needed to. But Batman stops him, asking, "Did it work? Martian Manhunter tells him that he doesn't know. He can only hope that some part of what he said got through. Meanwhile, over in the Legion of Doom headquarters of Lex, Brainiac asks where is the Martian. He was to capture him and bring him so they may gather information. Lex looks away, telling him that the Martian has nothing worth learning. As he goes to his room, he holds the relic in his hands. And he chants, Sha'an, Sha'an. As Superman flies above the buildings of Metropolis, he gets a call from Batman stating that they are ready. They have made the necessary preparations to call upon him. Superman lands in a rather snowy part of Metropolis, with Flash stating that the weather is exactly what Day 90 predicted it to be. Altogether, the combination should fool him into thinking it's time for him to return. But just before he can finish, the ground begins to shake and Superman calls out to everyone to be ready. They're about to face one of the most powerful beings in all of existence, Mr. Mxyzptlk. From within the small cage, there's a spark and a blip. And inside of it, Mr. Mxyzptlk stands up proud. Well. Flash stares, asking, is it really him? And Batman tells him, this is him. Mr. Mxyzptlk is a fifth dimension imp. His powers are off the charts. Wonder Woman then adds that the cage is made from black diamond, capable of trapping even Calypso. It should contain him and keep the city safe.
Damn it.
Mr. Mxyzptlk's eyes glow red and he asks, should it?
Yeah, that was it.
You thought you could pull a mischief on me? Well, this cage might keep the city safe, but who's going to keep you safe from the city? Just then, the lightning strikes down and all of the buildings grow teeth and they begin to eat one another. As the debris begins to fall, Batman tells Superman the Daily Planet just ate his building. Flash begins running towards Mr. Mxyzptlk, stating, I don't really know who stole your Lucky Charms, but there's no way you're going to. But before he could finish, his feet stomp as his legs sink into concrete. Green Lantern John Stewart holds out his ring, and just before he can make a construct, Mr. Mxyzptlk points at him, shouting, it's like a circus in here! John blinks and his ring turns into a boxing glove and his ears are replaced by light bulbs. Soon cars come alive trying to eat everyone and Martian Manhunter shouts, we are not your enemies. Mr. Mxyzptlk rolls around laughing. And you all thought a ridiculous cage would hold me. No, I want to hear you plead and beg. Everyone begins to state, okay, plead, and beg. Mr. Mxyzptlk wipes the tears from his face, stating, yes, you're all at my mercy? The smile quickly fades and he says, okay, what's the real mischief here? Superman tells him it's simple. Martian Manhunter is telepathically making his subconscious repeat his name backwards to neutralize his abilities. Mr. Mxyzptlk sighs as he sits back asking, why would you do this to me? Just to belittle me? Superman tells him, no, in fact, we did this to ask you for your help. You are all-powerful and an incredibly dangerous creature, but at your core, you're not evil. What we are, Mr. Mxyzptlk stops him. I know all too well what you face, and what we all face. Later, at the Hall of Justice, everyone sits with Mr. Mxyzptlk and Martian Manhunter stating that they have recently learned that Hawkgirl's wings hold a pattern that can help them fix everything. Superman then says that they believe it's a map to the fifth dimension. And Hawkgirl then says, where is the fifth dimension? So Mxyzptlk laughs. Where? Well, my dear, it's here. It's all around you. The first dimension is just a stupid point. Boop. The second is a line. Boring. The third is, well, it's material stuff. The fourth is tick-tock time. And the fifth, well, the fifth is imagination. It's everywhere at once. You can't see it, but if you could, you would see that it's freaking dying. Mxyzptlk points to a hole in his head, stating, ever since your tiny brains broke the source wall, imagination has been running wild. The fears, the hopes of every living thing, the imps.
All right, that takes care of my society quest for the day.
Our lifeblood as well. Never mind, the fifth dimension is not where the map is pointing. It's pointing to the sixth dimension. Wonder Woman tells him that there is no sixth dimension.
Better go check on my squad.
And Mxyzptlk says, but there is, and it is the key to everything. Here. Mxyzptlk holds out a plate showing the multiverse as a whole, pointing to each of the dimensions. But what they don't see is that there is a sixth dimension. The best way that he could explain it to their small minds is that it's a control, a realm for the thing beyond the imagination. There are 4 beings who could even exist there. The Brothers 3, the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger, and the one who set it all up, Perpetua, the evil being that Lex is trying to call with the totality. When they are destroyed, they are sometimes reformed there, as the World Forger likely did after their little battle with the Dark. Martian Manhunter asks if it's possible to create a portal to the 6th dimension. And Mxyzptlk says that it would take all of his abilities, but there would be one person who could go. Him! Mxyzptlk points at Superman as Superman asks, me? Mxyzptlk goes on telling him, you would be the only one able to comprehend it. Over the years, I may have been infusing you with 5th dimensional energy to protect you. Superman then asks, you did that because you knew that this would happen? And Mxyzptlk smiles, of course, I exist outside time. Starman then asks, since you exist outside of time, is it possible to know if this will even work? And Mxyzptlk says, haha, no space hippie. Even this is beyond my perception. Superman slams his fist on the table. Do it! Open the portal. But Batman yells, wait a damn second. We're dealing with something beyond our understanding here. And Superman tells him, we are running out of time. This is far bigger than us, yes, and it's terrifying. But we have to reach higher. We are the Justice League. Anyone opposed? No one speaks up, and Superman looks back at Mxyzptlk telling him, this is it. Open the portal. Mxyzptlk concentrates all of his power into his hands, and then, pop! A door to the 6th dimension opens up. Superman walks through it, looking back, telling everyone, it's okay. I'll be back. And as that door shuts, Batman says, we don't know how long this is gonna take.
I don't know that I actually feel like starting a new class
but
after I did all that.
Before he can even finish a knock at the
Took
door,
me a while to get
much
set
older
up this
Superman
morning.
wearing a gleaming white suit steps out, telling them, sorry for being gone so long, but it's good to be back. Batman then asks Martian Manhunter,
in the meantime,
can you tell if it's really
I can
him?
look into
Martian
Ishgard
Manhunter tells him that yes,
restoration.
it is the real Superman. Superman then tells everyone, it is me. I've spent the last decade in the 6th dimension following billions of threads of possibilities. The good news is I found a way to save the universe. Now come, let me show you. Batman asks, how can we? The universe still needs protecting. But Mara and Starman stop him, telling him that they will stay behind to keep an eye on things. Superman then says that he has set the energy portal to handle their signatures when everyone is ready. So, everyone walks through that portal and they step out on the other side and they feel the warm sun shining down on them. Batman asks, what just happened? Superman motions to all of the League's older selves, stating, it's simple.
I guess it's already done.
We've won. Now come inside. Let me share the story of how we saved everything. But elsewhere, in a dimension hidden away from everything, a man stumbles in the dark. He calls out asking if anyone can hear him, but he gets no answer. He trips on something, and he flares up his eyes to see dead bodies all around him. Superman screams as he fires a heat vision blast into the air, stating, it can't end this way. It can't! Back in the 6th dimension, the future Superman tells everyone, let me be the first to welcome you to the House of Justice. Martian Manhunter says that he doesn't sense any defenses, and future Superman tells him, because it's open in every sense of the word. It's more of a museum now. A tribute to justice and how it won the day. The full Justice banner is more than a flag. It's the shape of the multiverse now. Just then a young winged Martian looks at Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl, stating that it's so odd to see their younger selves like this. He senses that they are still like strangers to each other. The future Hawkgirl tells her son, Shane, yes, it was a different time then. Batman says, speaking of time, we don't have much of it. And Wonder Woman adds, yes, if we're going to go to war with the minions of doom, what is the battle plan? Future Wonder Woman says, you fear that the truth is more frightening than you know. And Flash says, we already know that things are scary. The source wall is... But before he could finish, future Flash, infused with himself and Wally, tells him, yes, destroy. Luthor is raising a cosmic goddess. Future John then says, to top it off, the multiverse is hurtling through the void. And John asks, okay, how do we stop it? The future Superman tells him, that's just it. You can't. That is the lesson of this place. It is what I learned exploring every option. In fact, what we need to do is speed it up. We all know that the multiverse is flying through the void, but the question is to where? And the Omniverse, when any one of the multiverses break before its final evolution, it's sent back to the banks of which it's created. Back to the super celestials like Perpetua. Perpetua was the rogue of the group, a bad seed. She created our multiverse using the 7 unnatural energies. She wanted to create something more vicious so it would live forever. But her sons, the ones known as the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger, lured the others like her, and she was forever imprisoned into the Source Wall. Perpetua's goal was to turn our multiverse away from justice and towards doom, to turn it into a weapon, one pointed at her brethren. So right now we must take control from her and help it achieve a higher form so that it can reach the banks of judgment, so that it will be deemed worthy. Batman says, I was skeptical at first coming here, but I'm listening now. How do we do that? Future Superman sighs, telling him, forgive me. It's just odd hearing you ask when you were the one who... Look, it doesn't matter now. Tomorrow we can talk plans. But today, please go. Explore the world. There are hard days ahead, but on the other side, it's a dream come true. Back in the past, Mara wakes up Jaro from a lovely dream of him being the best Robin that there was to ask him questions. Jaro asks what does she want, and Mara tells him that it's Mr. Mxyzptlk. He's grown some kind of energy cocoon. The readings are off the charts. What is he thinking? Jaro focuses and says, there's a voice. It's telling him, you must do what we agreed upon, Mxyzptlk. Back over in the 6th dimension, the Justice League looks at all of the things their future selves have built and created, but for one person, it's different. He looks over a bright and happy Gotham. And the future Superman says that he knows it's a lot to take in, but it's a testament to his dream, his work. The future Batman says that he would like to thank him, not as Batman, but as his family, as Dick Grayson. Future Nightwing pulls off the mask and goes on telling him that no one gave more for this war than he did. His sacrifice, even his life. They all know that he expected to fight forever, but here, Batman is what he always wanted it to be, a symbol of what's best about them. Batman says that he has questions. First, where the hell are all the villains? But elsewhere, as the night falls, Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl watch all of the spaceships coming in and out of the port. And Martian Manhunter says that it's odd. Their future selves spoke about them being the shepherds for everyone. They also mentioned concealing part of the truth from the others. Hawkgirl then asks, what does he mean about them not telling the world what really happened to the Source Wall? He thinks that they should have told them the truth. Martian Manhunter sits back, telling them that it's what his entire journey has been about. It's what she taught him. That pursuing the truth, good, bad, ugly, it all matters. Just then Shane shouts to them, no, you mustn't tell them what you feel. You must flee. Now, this place, these people, they're not what you think. Here, I'll show you. And Shane connects his mind with Martian Manhunter and Hawkgirl. And Martian Manhunter says, no, it can't be. Meanwhile, in the hidden dimension, Superman tries to find a light to escape, but the harder that he tries, the more that he can feel his powers draining. Each time that he fails, he falls shorter than the last time, but then a voice calls out to him. Superman steps up, and his future self steps out of the shadows, telling him, I think it's time that we talked. Moments later, Superman charges forward, punching into his future self. But the future Superman laughs, stating, you must see that there's no point to this. I've already explained the truth of everything, and Superman shouts, asking, what kind of monster are you? The future Superman sighs. He stops Superman's punch with just a single finger. He then grabs Superman by the wrist, flipping him over, slamming him into the ground. Future Superman then asks, are you done? Good. All of this has happened many times before. Still, I come here out of respect for you. This will be your final chance to answer, but know this. Fight anymore, and you will be killed where you lay. Superman coughs. You won't be able to fool my friends for much longer. They will stop you. Future Superman tells him, I'm not trying to fool anyone. I'm trying to save them. Save them from the one person that dooms them and the multiverse in every possible future. You! Superman slowly gets back up, stating, even if you trap me here but Future Soups interrupts him. Yes, 100 years. You will reach my universe and stop me. You've said it all before. I've heard it all before. But now I have my answer. Goodbye, Superman. Back in the 6th dimension, Batman sits with future Nightwing, having a cup of tea when suddenly he hears Martian Manhunter telepathically shouting, we need to have a meeting. Seconds later, Batman is brought into a psychic boardroom and he asks, what is it? Martian Manhunter tells him, it's this place. It's not what we think. Batman tells him, I don't understand. So Martian Manhunter shouts, this future, it's a path that we would never take, our host. And Shane yells, he could be here any second. Shane is the child of Hawkgirl and John Stewart in this future. Open your minds to me and I'll share with you what he's really done and what this place is. He will. Just then everyone is struck with an energy blast and the future Soups slams down onto the table telling them, if you want the truth, I'll give it to you. Manhunter shouts, he is not our Superman. And future Soups tells him, on the contrary, I'm the only Superman that can save you. So Batman asks, where is our Superman? And future Soups tells him, he's safe now. I intended on revealing myself eventually, but first I wanted you to understand this universe without being intimidated by my true face. We must team up if we're going to win. You know me as the first son of Perpetua, brothers to the ones that you call the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor, the one who creates from an idea and hammers everything into existence. I am the World Forger. This multiverse is my masterpiece, but know this, Justice League, it is also your only hope. Right now, Mr. Mixelpidalic is in your multiverse unimagining it and removing it so that this multiverse can replace it. My preference is that you will side with me willingly. For the greatest heroes in existence, to side with justice. Batman tells him, no. What we need to know is what you're asking us to become. The World Forger tells him, very well. Days from now, Lex Luthor will make an argument for doom to every living being. This moment is the beginning of the end for every multiverse. In every multiverse, except where one decides a method to predict who will side with justice and who with doom. Strike first against all who would take up arms against us. John tells him, you don't take prisoners of war before war. How many beings are you even talking about? World Forger tells him, trillions! More than half the universe. Hawkgirl then shouts, this isn't a dream future, it's a nightmare. World Forger slams his hammer down with a thundering crack-oom, and he asks, you dare say that I made a nightmare? You are the ones who ruined the multiverse that I built. You broke the source wall so the Perpetua may wake. Do you know the cost of chaining her the last time? World Forger pauses and tells them, I'm sorry, I'm just regretful. You have acted heroically, but in this multiverse, it has evolved into a justice formation far greater than yours. Now your only hope is to make it something fast and brutal, or everyone dies when they reach the judges. John then asks, what happens to everyone in our reality? And World Forger tells him, this is where the cosmic crises are caused. Like in those times, the essence of any being who has a place will be transferred when I strike my hammer. Wonder Woman asks, what about those with no place? And World Forger says, those who side with doom will be locked away forever. Martian Manhunter shouts, that is not a choice. This is not who we are. We voted once before about whether to allow the totality to hit Earth. Every day has been a discovery, some good, some terrifying. But with everything that has happened and might still happen, I would vote the same way. Hawkgirl says that she would too, along with Wonder Woman, Flash, and John Stewart. And then there's one voice who says, he wouldn't. Batman. Hawkgirl yells that they can still turn this around, and Batman asks, what if we can't? Since our battle with Barbados, we keep taking one step forward and two steps back. We're losing. You have to face it. The stakes, they're just too high. What do you keep clinging to? Shane tells him, hope. And Batman tells him, maybe it's time that we stopped. Wonder Woman quietly says that Superman would never agree to this, and World Forger shouts, this is the only possible future, make no mistake of that. Your choice is this, save only the good or save no one. It is time for you to vote once again. Answer in your minds, your hearts. I will accept whatever you choose. A few moments of silence pass and the World Forger turns, leaving. So be it. You will regret this. As everyone is teleported out of the psychic world and into a dark and ugly place. John asks, where are they? And Martian Manhunter says that the smell of the fire pits. Oh God, we're on Apocalypse. Flash looks up stating, guys, I think we found where they're keeping the bad guys. Martian Manhunter follows up telling them that they must find Superman so that they can. But before he can finish, a laser shoots by them and a person floats up stating, Superman is gone forever. Wonder Woman asks how they know this and the person says, because I'm the one who destroyed him. We destroyed all of them. Martian Manhunter yells, we are not your enemies. And Hawkgirl asks, who the hell are you anyway? The woman takes off her mask, stating, my name is Lois Lane, and I run this place. As the energy cuffs are placed onto everyone, Martian Manhunter screams that they must free them. Remove these shackles so that our abilities can return. Lois tells the lieutenant to set up the Omega tasers to a very, very painful level and shut them down. The man next to Lois shoots all of them with an Omega laser, and Lois clicks the button, shutting their cell, stating, good work, Lieutenant Olsen. Wonder Woman gets back up asking, why are you doing this? The man that you think is Clark, he... And Lois asks, do you think I don't know? Flash asks, how could you do this to us? You're the biggest idealist among us. And Lois tells him, I was born here. Born on one of the World Forger's earliest attempts at justice formation. I watched him create countless universes where they tried to save everyone, and in every attempt they failed and everything dies. Everything! Is that the cause for winning? Is this what Clark? But Lois stops him. Clark would never bend. He never saw the truth, which is why, because of Clark, we lose every time. As Lois leaves, Flash yells, this cell can't hold us. We have Batman. And then he looks around. Has anyone seen Batman? The World Forger sits in his tower telling Batman, "You're a smart man. You're one of the most strategic minds in all of existence, which is why you can see the inevitability of this path." Batman tells him, "I don't. Yet. I'm willing to hear you out. No tricks, no deception, just facts." The World Forger stands up, telling him, "My job is eternal, to create worlds from people's hopes and fears. Those that might last, I usher into reality. Those that I deem unstable, I return to the Forge. If there is anything that I know, it's what stands a chance and what doesn't." Batman looks away, telling him, "If we choose your way forward, what would you have me do?" World Forger explains, "Right now, Mr. Mixelpidalic is unimagining the fabric of things. Once that happens, the crisis anvil will appear before me, and my hammer will light. I will strike the anvil, and this universe will descend upon the vanished current one. The life energy of those beings who have been placed here will be transferred to their future counterparts." Batman asks, "What is my role in all of this?" And World Forger tells him, "You will be the one to convince your friends that this is the only way." And Batman asks, "What of Superman?" World Forger tells him, "Yeah, Superman. He's locked away in a galaxy made to contain him. Its sun gives him just enough energy to sustain him, but he's trying to reach us. All other versions of him have tried and failed, but yours, the prime Superman, with him it is possible. If he does, we will fight and Superman will die." Batman looks at the device before him. "My God. This is a test. You want me to move the suns away from Superman? He'll die." World Forger tells him, "Yes, Superman will die, but his essence will live on forever within you, locked away." Back in the cells of Apocalypse, Wonder Woman throws herself into the door trying to break it open, but just ends up being pushed back. Hawkgirl sighs, asking what are they going to do? They've tried everything. And a voice then says, "Maybe I can help." So Shane peeks around the corner. Manhunter yells, "That's it. Shane can create a psychic blast and destroy the barrier." And Shane tells him, "I don't know how to do that." But Manhunter kneels down, telling him, "You just have to connect to something that you feel strongly about. Love, fear, anger, sadness." And Shane grits his teeth, yelling, "Anger! Anger! This world makes me angry! The World Forger says it's the only way forward, but I can feel them, all of them, locked up or killed." He screams, his energy flows out of him, and then there's a loud boom as all of the cell doors explode. As the smoke clears and everyone steps out, Shane asks, "Did I do okay?" And Hawkgirl says that he did better than okay. "You opened up the door." Flash looks up, stating, "He opened up more than just our door." Just then, all of the locked away villains step out and they begin to walk towards them. Two-Face shouts to everyone, "Kill them!" And the League begins to run. Just as they make their way closer to the airships, they realize that they don't have anywhere to escape to. The villains get closer and closer when suddenly a voice calls out to all of the prisoners to stand down. The airship lowers itself down and Flash says that they're running out of place to, well, run. The hatch opens up and a voice says, "There's no escape from this world unless you get in right now." Everyone looks up to see the older Sinestro, the older Cheetah, the older Grodd standing there. And Martian Manhunter realizes, the Legion of Doom? Sinestro holds out his hand, telling them, "There's no time to argue. Jump!" Once everyone hops on board, Manhunter then asks why they're helping, and Grodd says, "Because time changes things. Pilot, take us back to the World Forger." And the pilot says, "Roger." Wonder Woman says that she knows that voice. Who is flying this thing? And Darkseid tells her, "It's simple. Darkseid is." Back at the World Forger's tower, he tells Batman that it is time. He has to choose sides. Batman looks down at the control panel, asking, "If I send the suns away quickly, will it happen fast?" And the World Forger tells him, "Yes, it will happen fast." Batman places his hands on the controls, telling him, "I'm so sorry, Clark. There's so much I want to tell you right now, but there's no time for anything. Except goodbye." And for Superman, he tries to fly towards the only light that he can see, and seconds later, it vanishes, leaving him alone in the dark. Back with the others who were captured, escaped prison, and then teamed up with the Legion of Doom in the future to find a way out of the situation. Lois's guards begin to chase the escaping shuttle, with Darkseid shouting, "They're gaining on us. Grodd, use the laser cannon." Grodd jumps into the gunner's seat, telling him, "Come to Papa." Flash asks, "Isn't this the part where we're supposed to start punching each other?" And Sinestro tells him, "There's no time for that, I'm afraid. No time for anything but this. Darkseid, how far to the portal?" Darkseid calls back that they have 2 to 3 minutes. That is, if Grodd is still a good shot. Grodd laughs, telling them, I might not be able to read your mind anymore, but I can still tell when you're screwing with me. Sinestro then goes on stating, all that matters is that we get you back to Earth to stop the World Forger. Listen, all my life I thought of myself as an anthropologist, a student of the intellectual life's many paths. But Luther,
pretty expensive,
he becomes worse than any of us become. All under
there's a bunch
hand.
of
I'm sorry. We are sorry. Grodd gets up from his seat stating, all clear. And just then Lois appears on the monitors asking, do you all remember Superman's journey to Earth? How his rocket kept him in stasis for all those years? And made us wonder, what if we could do that with more difficult prisoners? What if we made our own versions of it and we called them Krypton Cradles? Just then, the entire ship shakes as the guards begin to get within firing range and they shoot into their shuttle. Meanwhile, back with Batman, the World Forger tells him, I know there are conflicting feelings about joining me, but the hammer is almost lit. Soon it will be time to strike the anvil and bring about the crisis. The World Forger guides Batman towards a room and he asks, what is this? And the World Forger tells him, it is the greatest seat of power in existence. Batman asks, your throne room? And the World Forger tells him, no, it is yours. Batman reaches down to the panel and it reacts to his touch, opening the doors before him. Once Batman can see inside, he simply says, my God. The World Forger tells him, look upon your work. The Sunbox, a chair built from Element X, allows you to see into people's hearts. But you took it a step further. You built the final bat suit around the chair, not just to determine people's minds, but to change them and rewrite them cell by cell. This was the only way, wasn't it? And the World Forger tells him, yes, you are the greatest knight of the universe. Not dark, but bright. The sun. The true sun. Just then an explosion shakes the room.
And I know this is all supposed to lead into...
your friends couldn't have. But back on the show, Darkseid yells, our only hope is to shoot the Justice League out of the damned cannon towards the portal. Sinestro says that they're going to do this, but before that, they must know. Batman is the greatest enemy in this battle. His weapon is a suit that will rewrite your minds. Hawkgirl asks how do they, but Sinestro stops her, telling her, we have a mole on Earth. He just gave his life to destroy the suit. Wonder Woman says that they will not go without them, and Cheetah tells her, you have to go, please. As everyone gets ready, Sinestro tells John to make sure that their light never grows dim. And Cheetah tells Wonder Woman to remain true. And Grodd, he tells Flash that he still hates him. Sinestro grabs the controls and whips the shuttle around, telling Lois, don't fire, we're returning. Lois then asks, where are the others? And Grodd says, well, they're in the can. Don't ask, it's just that kind of league. But just then the cannon fires and Lois shouts, stop them before they reach the other side. Olsen responds to her, telling her, something is coming right at us, it is picking up speed. Sinestro pushes the thrusters to max, stating, yes, that's the old feeling, isn't it? How could I forget the power of fear? He flies the shuttle straight into the middle of Lois's cruiser, giving the League enough time to hit the portal and fall to the other end onto Earth. As they fall, one of you flyers is gonna catch me, right? As everyone lands, Hawkgirl gets up, stating that they need to find their future selves and beat the ever-living. But the World Forger tells them, you won't have to look far. Did you really think that I wouldn't feel you coming? I wrote this reality. Everyone readies themselves for battle, but that's when there's another explosion, and Batman voice tells them, you should have stayed on Apocalypse. Flash covers his eyes in the light, asking, is that Batman here to help us? Batman stands up, piloting one of the largest bat suits ever created, stating, I'm sorry, but it's time to imagine a different ending. The two leaves clash as they fight against their counterparts, but behind them, the World Forger's hammer glows bright as he holds it over his head. He tells Batman, this is it. The crisis anvil is nearly formed. Mixopedaling must have unraveled your Earth. It is time for you to use the power of the Sunbox suit to affect everyone's hearts. Batman tells him, I just need one chance to convince them myself the right way. The World Forger shouts, no! Do not diminish yourself by clinging to who you once were. I am ordering you to accept their fates. You are the universe's savior. A power surges through the World Forger and Batman tells him, please, with all I'm going to give to the future, give me this one chance. I can convince them. The World Forger scoffs. Bah, then try. But know this. If you fail, I will rip their minds apart myself, so make it count. Batman turns back, bursting through the League, telling them, stop and listen. Out of all of you, I do the most doubting. I'm the most skeptical. But here, in this place, I can see the way forward. Hawkgirl bashes Batman, giving Martian Manhunter the time to slam him into the ground. And Martian Manhunter tells him, no, you have lost your way. Batman gets back up shouting, you need to listen! And Hawkgirl asks, why? So you can rip our minds from us? This isn't what we fought for. You are a traitor. Batman releases the restraints that contain Hawkgirl, telling her, you are no match for the Sunbox suit. I built it with all of you in mind. Just then Shane jumps up attacking them, telling him, everyone except me. Batman fires a blast at Shane and he yells, damn it, all of you. If you listen to anything I've ever said, let it be this. I've been a detective my whole life, and in this place I found the answer on how we win. The only way forward. You need to look past everything and see it. But before he could go any further, the World Forger shouts, enough. The time has come. The anvil is formed. Reshape their minds now, Batman. And Batman screams, see the light! You have to see the light now! But elsewhere, a withering Superman sees something. He sees the light. Warm and bright on his skin, almost like the sun. But not just one, several suns bathing the Man of Steel with power. At first he thinks that he's just imagining things, but the rays, they charge his cells and he knows. And he quietly says, Bruce. With his strength returning tenfold, Superman shouts to the World Forger as he flies through the suns, one after another, gaining more strength each time. No, more power than he's ever felt before. He flies at a speed beyond physics, beyond imagination, his will, his anger. And Batman calls out, that's it! See the way forward! The World Forger can feel the vibrations, and just as he gets ready to strike his hammer down on the anvil to create the crisis, he sees it. He can feel it. He underestimated these beings. And when he looks up, he sees something coming at him, something shaped a lot like a fist. Superman crashes down with enough force to level a country, and it is all focused on the World Forger. The world trembles, and it shakes at the impact, leaving behind a giant crater in its wake. Superman stands over the World Forger, telling him, look up at me. The World Forger coughs. You destroyed my masterpiece. You've doomed us all. You truly are the greatest villain in existence. And Batman, how could you betray me like this? The feelings that I felt, you believed it. How did you trick me? Batman walks up, telling him, I didn't. I do believe you're right. It is the only logical chance for us to win. I moved the suns into a fast orbit knowing that Clark would die, believing that maybe we'd have a better chance if he did. But I also knew that if Superman pushed through, the suns would be there for him. So I gave him a chance to prove me wrong. Because he's a friend and he makes me believe things that I can't on my own. However, going through all of the possibilities, there is one that you haven't looked for. The World Forger looks to him. What is that? Batman tells him, the one where you fight with the Justice League. The World Forger slowly gets up, stating, you leave me no other choice. As Superman extends his arm, telling him, there really is only one way forward. Together. The World Forger scoffs, stating, this is foolish. Superman helps him up, telling him, no. It's uncharted territory, which is exactly where we need to be. So let me be the first to officially welcome you to the Justice League. But back in Washington, D.C., a pillar of light forms as the World Forger opens a portal back to their dimension, and Wonder Woman looks around, stating that the damage is worse than she could have imagined. Shane asks, is this what their reality has always looked like? Smoking and burning like that? And the World Forger tells them, no, this was my doing. I did it to spread terror. Just as everyone heads into the dimly lit Hall of Justice, he says, strange. I've never seen the halls so empty. But that's when Mara and Starman run up, stating, thank God you're back! Hawkgirl tells them, yeah, we leave reality for a few hours and everyone gets nervous. Mara shouts, hours? You've been gone for a week. We fought Mxyzptlk. It's been a week since everything changed. Batman asks, what do you mean? And Mara tells them to come, she'll show them. They were first overwhelmed fighting Mxyzptlk. They were losing and the whole world could see it happening. Then Luthor showed up with the Legion of Doom and unleashed Batmite to fight Mxyzptlk to turn the tide. The Legion of Doom used their incredible powers and they won. Lex Luthor saved the world, but that's when he said this. They play a recording and Lex stands over Mxyzptlk's body. He tells the people, greetings. I am Lex Luthor. You know me by many faces. But as a member of the Justice League, I was one of your greatest heroes. I have from time to time been called a scourge against the world, but I am here today to show you my true face, to tell you what your heroes won't. The Justice League broke the protective source wall at the edge of their universe, and only a few short weeks ago, what remained of it broke away and all of existence is now threatened by an all-consuming void. Hundreds of worlds, filled with alien life and far beyond your understanding, have already been destroyed. Your universe and the multiverse it sits within is dying. Make no mistake, this is the Justice League's fault. In the face of a dying multiverse, your heroes will tell you to appeal to the better side of yourselves, to continue living good, virtuous lives. Part of you would think, yes, that is the best thing to do. That's what Superman would do. But another, deeper part of you will be screaming in abject horror. What do you do as the universe dies around you? Smile and hope for a better tomorrow? Or embrace the scream? Do you do what is best for you and your own? They call those who cling to the true emotions within themselves as villains. They called me a villain, a vain, selfish creature of ego. So be it. Let them say what they will. We have seen the hero's path and it will lead to ruin. The universe is dying. We must save ourselves at any cost. We must all be villains. Effective immediately, I am dissolving LexCorp. Every penny of my multi-billion-dollar fortune will be given away to the people who will show you the way to save yourselves. Soon you will see what I am willing to sacrifice for this cause, but ultimately, it will be on each and every one of you to choose your path forward, to choose justice or choose doom. The only way to save your world is to make this the year of the villain. You'll be hearing from me shortly. Mara then says that the broadcast was transmitted everywhere. Riots followed shortly after people lashed out in fear. Batman asks, "That's not all, is it?" And Mara tells him no. So Superman then asks, what was Lex going to sacrifice? And Mara says, himself. First, Lex went to the White House and he took down Amanda Waller, robbing her mind of the location of the most dangerous people on the planet. The government tried to step in, but Lex went to LexCorp Tower and destroyed it with himself inside. Superman then asks, who did he give his fortune away to? Do we know? And Mara says, no, but based on the information he stole from Waller, Batman finishes, it's going to the world's worst villains. We need our eyes on all of them immediately. The World Forger steps forward stating, this is an extraordinary, dangerous turn of events. This is what Perpetua needs to gain her power back. Our only hope is to find my brothers, the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. They held her back once before. Starman shouts, no, I can feel what we need to do. We need to unlock the mystery of the power within me. I can feel it echoing through hypertime and the multiverse. Wonder Woman then says, no, we have to keep our eyes on Earth. We have so many incredible heroes that we can recruit. The Justice League needs to be bigger than ever before. Martian Manhunter tells everyone, we need to do all of it and more. There's a great war of justice and doom coming, and I fear it's about to get much, much worse. Meanwhile, over at the halls of the Legion of Doom, lightning strikes as Brainiac watches over his production of a drone. Just then, from one of the test chambers, a man breaks free and climbs out grabbing a rope. Brainiac says that it worked, and the hooded man says, of course it did. The body is unfinished, but the groundwork for my evolution is set. Are the drones ready? Brainiac tells him yes, but just say the word and they will make their way to their targets. The man steps out into the rain stating it's time for the villains of this world to see what I truly offer them. The heroes won't have a chance when they rise with doom in their hearts. Launch the drones. It's time for the Justice League to understand that their doom has just begun. Lightning strikes again, showing enough light to reveal the face of our hooded man. Lex Luthor evolved to the apex predator. And there you have it, the conclusion to the Justice League, issue 1 all the way to 6th dimension conclusion, which brings us into the year of the villain. Now, God of War is an impressive franchise that I have been following.
I'm actually going to wait on that one, because I don't want to spoil anything.
The entire city of Gotham is cut off from the rest of the world,
that is
leaving them in a
classic.
no man's land. Today we're going to be giving you the full story of No Man's Land right here at Comicstorian, where I create audio dramas of your favorite comic books so that you know which...
I might save that for tomorrow. 3 hours and 46 minutes? I like that. I like it a lot. Oh, she's right over here. Over there. I'm about to have a smoke time myself. Where is this person? I'm having such a hard time with this. There she is. Alright, I am just a crazy person. I could care about the less about this whole permanent background. Huh. Actually, you know what? We got a good hour before I'm gonna get off. So.
Ones you can enjoy and add into your collection. The story of Batman No Man's Land doesn't need that much context, but it does begin with the fall of Gotham. Gotham has been destroyed, and Batman has gone missing in the destruction. Due to this, the city of Gotham has been disconnected from the rest of the United States, and they're left to fend for themselves without Batman, but the rest of the Bat family is running around. This is the complete collection of the Batman No Man's Land storyline that we covered here like 2 years ago. I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it. Faint sounds of signs flapping in the wind can be heard along the Gotham City limits. These signs tell a person that if they continue, they would be leaving the United States, or that the area has been declared off limits by the federal authority. And that is because there was an earthquake, one that shook the very foundation that was Gotham City. Now soldiers gather around the perimeter of the city, turning those who wish to enter away. Even a priest who just wanted to provide aid to those in need is turned away, leaving him to find other ways. Even after bribing a helicopter pilot to fly close to the ruined city, the priest is forced to just throw his box of supplies out. As the food scatters down below in Gotham, the people gather, grabbing what they can, looking around to see if anyone else noticed. And of course, people do notice, and they would steal right from a person's hand just to have a bite. This regression has forced people to fight for what they want or keep, even if the methods are crude. A spiked tennis ball fired from a sling into one's back often does the trick, though. And those lucky enough to have numbers like the GCPD are able to maintain some order in this city, even if they too have to adjust to the times. With food being a rarity all on its own, the crime lords have started to make strongholds around the city, killing anyone who even thought of stealing from them. But for those fortunate enough to not have their findings stolen, they were given a chance to barter for other goods. Hell, things like an apple can catch the eyes of those willing to pay big enough just for a chance to bite into something fresh. Auctions are held for those privileged few by the Penguin himself. People offer 5 gallons of gasoline, some offer 10. One man even offered a night with his girl. But another man offers a 20-carat diamond, which Penguin accepts. Even in these times, Penguin still kept his refined tastes in jewelry. It's been just over 3 months in No Man's Land, and one person keeping record of that is Barbara Gordon. She watches from her tower, barricaded in with plenty of food, medicine, and rechargeable solar batteries. She had the chance to leave, but there was this nagging sense of duty to stay, something she must have gotten from her father. So to get by, Barbara deals in information, with maps, knowledge of various underground supplies, stashes, and fallout shelters. She does well for herself. She even tricks the locals to get her food from these caches by telling them that they are poisoned and only she has a means to neutralize it. Little do these people know, the food isn't poisoned, but if they knew that, well, they might not come back. With her network of information, Barbara has also learned that Jeremiah Arkham decided to let all of the criminals in his asylum back into the streets before he left town. The neighborhoods were sectioned off and tagged to show who owns what. All the big players are there. Two-Face, Killer Croc, Black Mask, the ventriloquist in Scarface, the Joker, though his whereabouts are currently unknown. The only person who didn't go insane was Penguin. Rumor has it that he's got a pipeline for stuff from the outside. Obviously, in a world where a box of matches is more valuable than a camera, a bike is more useful than a Ferrari. An entrepreneur like Penguin is going to thrive. But the people, why do they stay in Gotham? Some had no choice. Some saw it as a great adventure. Others saw a unique opportunity. And some believed their own reality, welcoming the mothership to land. With food and resources now currently being the only currency, people protect and defend their own tooth and nail. People with trade skills like mechanics or seamstresses are brought into the folds and offered protection. People with social skills, they're normally turned away, since they don't have anything that they can really offer. And what of Gotham's leading citizen, Bruce Wayne? Where did he go? After being humiliated and insulted before Congress, he disappeared. Ironically, all of his properties were quake-proof, except his personal home. Did he give up? Did he leave Gotham? Well, no one knows for sure. But without the presence of Batman, the GCPD have taken it upon themselves to dish out their own brand of justice. Since there are no jails, the GCPD steps in for those in need, literally taking the clothing off of the backs who try to take what isn't theirs. However, one day, using what little they had, one of the officers made a makeshift bat signal, stating that he was hoping this could give people hope. Jim quickly destroyed the signal, though, shouting, "No, we don't need this because he's not coming." He gave up on Gotham like everyone else. He always took the easy way out. Being a vigilante was much easier than being an actual cop, though some say in certain parts of the city they can see a tag, one shaped like a bat. Some even go as far as to state that they have seen Batman, but all they could see were shadows. Word travels to Barbara, however, that something is off. Batman wouldn't use the tag to show himself. It just isn't his style. Or would he? In no man's land, there's no status quo, but still, if it is him, why wasn't he calling her? One night as the cold sets in, a pair of drifters get cornered by a group of thugs, noticing that they have nice warm coats. The drifters try to run, but the thugs begin to catch up, with the drifters bracing themselves for a beating. But that beating, it doesn't come. When the drifters open up their eyes, they see the bat-shaped shadow fighting against the thugs. One of the thugs begins to beg Batman not to kill him, but the voice that responds is female. Wearing a cowl covering her whole face, she tells the thugs that this area is under her protection. Another thug grabs the brick, stating that it's just a girl, and the woman tells him that she is the Bat, their worst nightmare. The Batgirl effortlessly disarms and beats the thugs down until they decide that enough is enough and they run away. Once they're gone, that Batgirl tags the wall with her mark, and one of the drifters asks, "Does she like work with Batman?" She asks, "How do you know that she isn't Batman?" If you were a big tough guy and got beat up by a girl, would you admit it? Or would you state that it was some huge 7-foot-tall giant with fangs and claws? The drifter says that that's a fair point. Back with the GCPD, Jim looks to expand his territory and protect those in need. And what better way to do that than to start a gang war between two gang factions? As the night comes, Jim and Bach both head out looking for a demon's tag when they come across a group of people trying to keep warm around a pile of burning books. Jim sighs to himself, stating that once they take back the city, he's gonna make it a punishable offense to burn books. But soon they come across what they're looking for, a demon's tag. Bach begins to cross out the tag and replace it with the Low Boys tag when someone calls out to him. Jim spins around, shining his light on a group of demons, and he tells them, "Look, you don't look like Low Boys, but really, we don't care. The penalty for trashing the demons is death." As the demons' thugs move in, there's 3 gunshots, and a masked man says that he really hopes they don't mind. The man pulls off his mask, revealing himself to be another officer, Petite, and Jim asks, "You've been following us all night?" Petite tells him that he couldn't sleep knowing that they might turn up dead, trying to turn the gangs against one another. Was he wrong? Jim doesn't respond, and Petite sits the dead demons along the Low Boys tag, stating, "Now this will incite a war." Petite takes a deep breath and shouts, "Oh, demons, come out and play!" Petite's call echoes throughout the abandoned buildings, reaching the ears of the demons nearby. They run over to where the sound came from, and they find 3 of their brothers dead under a Low Boys tag. As they decide to report back, Petite leans around the corner yelling, "Chick, chick, chick." The demons quickly rush to the sound, and Jim and the others lead the group right to a group of Low Boys. After quickly ducking away into an alley, the demons begin to yell at the Low Boys that they're going to die. But up from a nearby building, Petite watches, stating, "Congratulations, you guys just started a gang war." A few nights later, a group of thugs sit by a broken bridge when they notice an old man wandering around.
Oh my God.
The thugs jump out to mug the man, but they decide that they have a better idea. They're just gonna test to see if the waters separating them from the other side really do have minds. So they push that man towards the ledge, stating that if there are mines, they will just have to keep throwing people in until there's none left. As the old man is pushed over the edge, the thugs hear something, and they look up, and they see the Batman. Batman quickly disarms one of the thugs, and the other pulls out a knife, with Batman throwing him to the ground. He tells Alfred, the old man, to hang on. And as Alfred dangles on a rhubarb sticking out of the concrete, he says, "Yes, a sensible course of action, sir." Batman bashes one of the men with a broken car door and throws a rock at another. He then ducks to avoid the rock as it hits one of the thugs by the ledge, sending him over.
Was this
He
all just
screams
for a
as he falls in,
dungeon?
and when he hits the water, there's a loud loud boom as the mine goes off. Batman helps Alfred up, apologizing. I'm sorry I didn't get here any sooner. I need to relearn how to get around. All the broken cornices and rubble and collapsed rooftops are slowing me down. Alfred then says, it's been a while since you've been in action. How does it feel? Does it feel good? Batman tells him, no, it didn't feel good. It felt great. Though Batman is working solo, he does at least make an effort to inform Barbara that he is back, even if he doesn't answer any of her questions. The next day, Jim's war between the demons and the Lowboys rage on, with Jim bringing in his men to tell them that this is now GCPD territory. They can surrender now, or they can have them thrown out there. With the two gangs already disorganized from their fighting, it doesn't take long for Jim and the GCPD to clean up and take control. It could be said that Jim didn't just do this to expand their territory, but also to take over the area where Barbara was. Once the remaining demons and Lowboys are rounded up, Jim tells them again that this area is now GCPD territory. They have 1 hour to clear out, and if any of the demons or Lowboys are found here, the penalty will be death. Petite then says to just show them that we're not fooling around. He puts one of his guns to the demons and pulls a trigger. The demons slumps to the ground as everyone scatters, and Jim shouts, "That was way out of line! We are still police, and that means that we will not resort to death squad tactics. Is that understood?" Petite says that he was just taking a little more initiative is all. Now they know the GCPD is prepared to enforce their death penalty. They will run all over town telling everyone that the cops have gone crazy. Maybe this time they won't actually come back. If he thinks he was wrong, look him in the eye and tell him. Jim stares into Petite's eyes, and he says nothing. So Petite walks off telling them, all right, enjoy those sticks. Meanwhile, over at Dooley Square, Batgirl finishes taking out a thug when someone tells her, you have a nice costume. She spins around to see Batman and says she didn't think that he would approve. He hasn't been around and Gotham needed a bat. Batman tells her, my whereabouts and my reasons are my own, but I don't do partners. They've already been sent away because of how dangerous this place is going to be. Batgirl says, well, she plans on continuing to do what she can with or without the costume. She can take it off if he asks. Batman doesn't say anything at first, and then he looks at the bat tag, and he says, that's a good idea. I plan on using it. Batgirl then asks, do you mean that I'm approved? And Batman says, you're not disapproved. For now. The next day, Jim and his men stumble upon a bat tag, and Jim's scout, Ramirez, asks what does it mean. Jim yells that he'll tell them what it means. Nothing! If he really was here, wouldn't he announce himself? Just paint over it. It's not him. It's not his style. But later that night, Batman returns to the area to find that his tag was painted over. He thinks to himself that he's been gone way too long. There's no respect, no fear. And why should he be surprised? Myths lose their power if they aren't repeated. If they don't see him, they won't talk about him. So Batman sneaks into a Scarface-controlled building, and as the person inside wakes up, Batman says, I'm on your side. Just tell me where Scarface sleeps. The man begins to shout, no! Scarface protects us! You're bad! Get out! Just then, one of Scarface's enforcers kicks in the door, firing a shot, barely missing the Batman. He jumps out the window running, and as the enforcer looks out the window, he doesn't take a second shot. Batman returns to his hideout to try and figure out a way to get close to Scarface. He can't use his high-end tech because it's useless out there. So right now, he's going to have to rely on his own brain. Ventriloquist and Scarface have something that the others need, but they aren't taking it from them. Why? Or maybe they can't. That's right. They control the bullets. That's why the enforcer didn't take a second shot. It's because he couldn't. This costume right now is a liability. It's time to compromise. He's gonna take it off until the time is right. The next morning, Batman heads out without the mask into Scarface's territory, and a man points a gun at him asking, what is he doing? Batman tells him that he's looking to trade. He wouldn't waste his one bullet on a man who could just drop the soda, right? The enforcer then asks, how did he know you only had one bullet? Batman tells him, I knew a guy who ran with the ventriloquist to Scarface a while back. He was the cheapest boss around, always grinding him on the split. He's grinding you too, isn't he? The enforcer last stated that he can't complain, but hey, he's got some cigarettes trade for the soda. But before the trade could happen, the enforcer notices a few people not working and yells at them to get back to work. Batman asks what's the deal with them, and the enforcer explains that they offer to protect the people here, and they work for them finding stuff. Scarface gets first pick, Rhino divvies up the rest. The suckers get nothing fancy, but enough to live on, like dog food. Batman then asks, how do you protect everyone if you only have one bullet? And the enforcer tells him that Scarface said they needed to conserve their resources, only 8 of them around. Batman thinks to himself, okay, 1 boss, 1 lieutenant, 8 rifles. Now I know the score. He tells the enforcer that he'll trade him the soda for a lighter on 1 condition. Give this message to Scarface, and there might be another bottle of soda in it for him. Later, Scarface reads Batman's letter aloud, stating, I have 1,000 rounds of 9mm ammunition for trade. If you're interested, send someone wearing a red armband to the same place. Scarface then looks at the enforcer and asks, who gave you this? And the enforcer says some guy he's never seen before. He knew what he was talking about, though. It wasn't like their usual dummies or fools. Ventriloquist says they should discipline their men. They know that they should be talking to strangers. They can't trust a message like that. Scarface then crumbles up the letter, stating, but we can't ignore it. Our ammo isn't gonna last forever. So the next day, Batman goes in to discuss the trade, with Scarface offering that he can take whatever he can carry with 2 arms. Batman tells him okay, but they can't do the trade in their territory. It's just asking to get shot. If he does want to trade, bring 24 flashlights and batteries to Addison Street subway. The case of ammo will be there. Leave the lights, take the ammo, simple as that. Scarface then asks, how do I know you ain't gonna double cross us? Batman tells him, if you're worried, then don't show up. I can always deal with Black Mask's gang. So Sky, noon tomorrow, Addison subway. The next day, Scarface and his men find the crate that Batman left, and when they open it, there's a blinding flash of white light. Batman runs in, knocking the enforcers out, and tells Alfred to tie them up. He then looks at the ventriloquist, yelling to say his name. Say my name! And then he snatches Scarface. Ventriloquist tells him, Batman! And Batman yells, louder! So the ventriloquist shouts, Batman! And Batman then says, who's in charge here? And the ventriloquist shouts, Batman! Batman's in charge! As everyone is tied up, Batman takes to the streets, calling to everyone, Scarface is finished. This is now the territory of Batman. To everyone with a rifle, your friends aren't coming back. Surrender or face my wrath. A man takes a shot at Batman, hitting him in the back, and he falls to the ground. But after a few moments, Batman gets back up and he starts to walk. More shots begin to hit him again, and he gets up the second time, with the shooters yelling that he can't be killed. He ain't human. Batman laughs to himself, thinking, thankfully, they didn't have armor-piercing shells. Now it's time to really take control. Scarface's enforcers leave the area, but as Batman tells everyone that they are free, one of the men asks who will feed them now. Batman throws the Scarface doll down, stating that they will feed themselves. And another man says that's not how it works. They have to give him tribute, and he gives them what they need. Rhino took good care of them, making sure that no one got any more than any other. Batman thinks to himself, I know who these people are. The destitute, former welfare recipients, the unmotivated. Rhino then says, it's not about the good guys or bad guys, it's about survival at this point. So Batman tries to think of something, and he says, okay, whatever you were doing this morning, keep doing it. Returns to the subway telling the enforcers, you have a choice. You can either work for Batman or you can go with him. One of the men asks where's the ventriloquist going, and Batman tells him, hell. The ventriloquist begins to speak, asking, but, and just then Batman smacks him, yelling, shut up, who's in charge? He hands his knife to Alfred, telling him, free them. Then he tells the enforcers that if they want to try and take him down, now's their chance. He heads back inside, gathering everyone together, stating, you all work for me now. Everything will be just like it was before. Rhino will provide the rations, real food, not dog food. You will get first choice of goods and supplies. You'll get first choice of food and drink. You're never gonna know when I show up, so don't mess up or I'll take you out. As everyone begins to get back to work, Alfred asks, tribute? What are we now, pirates? And Batman tells him no, it's a sign of respect. It's the language of one that cannot succeed unless one is fluent in it. Alfred then asks, aren't you fluent enough? So Batman replaces the Scarface tag with one of his own, stating, not yet, but I intend to be. For a brief moment, the world is calm, silent. As lightning strikes, it makes the sound as if the universe itself was split into two. As Azrael checks his costume, he's struck from behind by a pair of fists. A man shouts that he is one of them, and Azrael yells, no, I'm the guy who dragged your sorry tails out of the fire. As for my clothing, don't you recognize the new Red Cross uniform? Get a clue. But as Azrael walks off, he thinks to himself that one more punch and he would have been out. The old Azrael would have handled the three of them within seconds. The new version? Let's just hope that there isn't a pack of angry Cub Scouts up ahead. The costume he wore before he made Azrael. but now it went up in smoke along with Ladd's home. The new suit is, well, he's just regular old Jean-Paul Valley, dressed for Halloween. However, there are more pressing matters to focus on. Ladd has information about Nick Scratch, and now that Ladd is gone, Azrael follows the tracks to an old church nearby, and he notices muddy footprints walking throughout the halls. The footprints lead to a dusty organ, and they just stop. Azrael looks around the seams of the organ and he begins to pull on it, revealing a hidden pathway behind. As he shines his light, a man lunges forward to the pipe, knocking the flashlight out of his hand. He shouts that he won't get him, but Azrael tells him that he does not plan to harm the man he spoke with earlier about Scratch. His name is Azrael. After calming Ladd down, he explains that yes, he does know something. Nick Scratch had an uncle who owned a fishing lodge at Dixon Lake near Bloodhaven. It is possible that Nick himself went there to hide out. Not many people know of the lodge's existence. With that newfound knowledge, Azrael sets out for Dixon Lake. And just like before, the storm is fierce. But even as the rain hits his face with the force of a slap, he presses on. Just then the lightning strikes with a sound that can shatter the night. Azrael pauses, seeing the lightning strike right next to him. He thinks to himself that after just a few more yards,
having a real conversation
nothing more than a pile of ash. He should return and wait for the storm to die out, but he won't. Besides, what are the chances of that happening again? 1 in a million? As long as he can get to the car. A second bolt strikes, but this time under Azrael's feet. He jumps out of the way, the ringing in his ear causing him to lose hearing for a moment. But after a few seconds, sound gradually returns. And with it the sound of rain, wind, and voices. 3 men walk up, all branding pitchforks, stating that they know who he is. Scratch must want them to kill him. Azrael stands up asking, why? Why do you follow Scratch? And the men tell their stories. One pumped gas, which was boring. The second was an accountant, which was banal. The third was a lawyer, which was both boring and banal. Scratch gave them purpose, guidance, made them special. Azrael listens, knowing that Scratch has relieved them of their actions and thoughts, ultimately taking away their humanity. He was like them once. The world was a simpler place. Azrael readies himself for a fight, getting ready to draw his blades, but he realizes that this is not the right costume. He doesn't have blades. He prepares himself for the worst when suddenly lightning strikes again, except this time it hits Azrael. He falls to the ground, his body smoldering, and the 3 men ask, did Nick Scratch do that? He must have. How else could it have happened? Either way, their job is done. But before the men leave, Azrael drags his fingers through the dirt as he pulls himself up, telling them, no, it isn't. Later, Azrael will question why he isn't dead. Was it a natural phenomenon? A miracle? Whatever the case, something inside him changed. His movements, his accuracy, his form, all of it worked together to fight these men. Mind and body, quick and fluid and certain. As Azrael kicks and knocks out the last devil, he allows himself to smile, and with that, the storm passes. The earth is quiet again. Azrael travels the land, passing Bloodhaven and arriving at Dixon Lake. When he gets out of the lodge, he notices the tracks in the ground are still fresh. Did someone come or did they go? Is someone inside aiming a gun at him? Is he going to step on a
are you going to go try to catch
he asks
Deadpool and
himself
Wolverine
these
again?
questions, but still pushes
Since
through,
you passed
kicking
out?
the door to the lodge in. There's no sign of Scratch, but there is a note. Azrael, I thought you might get this far. Sorry I missed you. Gone to Gotham City. See you there.
Because I want to go see it.
Nick.
I want to go
Skip
see it
ahead
again.
11 days.
So.
Because it's been 11 days since she was trapped there. The water is nearly gone. The nights are freezing. 3 days since she's last eaten. Welcome to Gotham City. As curiosity sets in, the young woman looks down a dark hole, asking if he's down there. Can he hear her? What does he want? And from the shadows, a large man sits on a pile of bones, stating that he thought that she already knew. He wants her. Meanwhile, just outside of the city,
it'll be worth
Nick
it.
Scratch tells the guards that
I
he
think
must
so.
get over the river. Those poor, deeply troubled souls over there, they need salvation. They need a message that only he can bring them. The guards are hesitant at first, claiming that they have their orders to not let anyone over. But the more that Nick speaks, the more the guards...
if I could care less about this quest...
Nick convinces the guards to grant him passage on the other side of the dock. Azrael watches. He can't hear what they're saying, but he knows that they're planning to ferry Nick across. But before Azrael could act, the older woman by the name of Miss Friedang appears, stating that he has a funny costume. But if he could, She must get over to Gotham. Her daughter is trapped over there, but before she lost contact, her daughter said that she was in terrible danger. She's sorry to ask a thing, but Azrael reluctantly agrees to help, but now instead of just getting himself over, he must find a way to get Mrs. Freedang over. He lights a torch, throwing it into an old truck, and he pushes the flaming truck into the docks. As the guards begin to put the fire out, Azrael takes Mrs. Freedang and jumps onto the boat that was prepared for Nick. As the boat gets ready to sail back across the river, the woman looks back down into the pit, stating that she doesn't see anything. It's so dark. The woman's boyfriend says that he's probably gone. They were up there freezing their butts off, scared by some boogeyman who isn't there. He's going to go down there and search for food. Anything will be better than sitting here listening to her whining. The dumbest thing that he ever did was hook up with a loser like her. As the boyfriend lowers himself down, the woman pulls the rope ladder back up, stating that when he comes back, she'll help him get back up. The boyfriend scoffs, asking, "Come back to you? You're so dumb, you probably believed that I would." Just then a pair of gleaming eyes appears through the darkness, and the large man from before steps out with a knife, asking the boyfriend if he would like to join him for dinner. The boyfriend stumbles back, stating, Wait, you want the girl, right? I can get you the girl, no problem, just let me. The large man holds the knife, telling him, her time will come. And then a short, ear-piercing scream can be heard as it echoes throughout the city. Over at the Gotham City docks, Nick's boat is secured, and as Nick walks out, he says that he would like to thank them for bringing him over. But before he could leave, a group of thugs walk out wielding pipes and chains, asking what do they have there on the
story
boat.
can be
One of the
behind
guards
just
grabs
setting
his
up
gun,
trade
firing at
routes.
the thugs, but when his shot misses, the thug with the chain swings it, knocking the gun from the guard's hands. Just then Azrael jumps from the boat, telling everyone to leave, and one of the thugs lunges at Azrael, but just like before, Azrael dispatches him with ease. A kick here, a throw there. The thugs prove to be easy sparring partners, but during the fight, Nick takes his chance to escape into the night. Once everything is over, Mrs. Freedang steps off the boat asking if it's safe now, and Azrael tells her, yes, let us go find your daughter. However, just across the street, the large man found the woman as she screams for help. Mrs. Freedang says that that's her. That's my daughter, Mitzi. Azrael quickly leaps onto a nearby car and onto the roof of a broken building, separating the man and Mitzi. The man rushes in, and Azrael can sense that this man's strength is equal to 3 men, and he himself is already exhausted. The man grabs Azrael by the cape and slams him down, and just as Azrael gets back up, he swipes at the man's face, cutting it. The two exchange blows back and forth, but using his large figure against him, Azrael kicks the man back and off the ledge of the building. The man falls several stories down into the street, and when it all seems clear, there's a gunshot. Mrs. Freedang points her gun at Mitzi, stating that she ran away with that animal. She disgraced their family and caused her poor father to have a heart attack. Mitzi looked where the bullet hit and says that she missed. Mrs. Freedang lowers the gun, stating that she knows. She just had to get it out of her system. Now give her a hug. Azrael watches his mother and daughter reunite and thinks to himself, another happy ending, another night in no man's land. And Azrael has joined the fray. As the roaring fire cackles over the voices of those throwing books into the pit, one man from afar watches in the shadows. Barbarian thinks to himself, he's never known a cold so bitter that it must be staved off with books. Scarecrow quietly watches as more books are collected and then notices one of them put aside. What book could be so important that they could not burn it? Ah, of course, the Bible. It is time to enact the plan. The next morning, outside of the broken down church, Jonah tells Father Chris that he's almost done setting up the sign. However, they're going to need a tag, something to show the people of this block that it is protected. Father Chris has taken it upon himself to shelter those in need and provide safe haven from the evil that wanders the streets of Gotham. But as much as Chris refuses to fall under the protection of any one gang, there's one person trying her best to look out for them, the Huntress. There's also a third group who stay in the areas, and there's a splinter cell group of black masks, false facers, led by a man named Leo, who's trying to make it out on his own. Leo leads his men into one of the old precincts, telling them that there's a stash of ammo here that they could use. But as his men get inside, they state that this place is already cleaned out. Everything was taken, down to the ballpoint pens. Leo laughs, walking into the morgue, telling them that this is it. Welcome to Ammo Central. He pulls out one of the decomposing bodies, pulling out the bullets used to kill them, stating that they just have to reforge these and score some gunpowder. However, as Leo digs through one of the bodies, Mikey says that he's not so sure about this. This ain't right. As Mikey stumbles out of the room, he falls through a glass door before a pair of boots. He gets up asking, "Who And just as if he's answering, Batman punches him in the face. Batman slams his head into the ground asking, "Why are you here?" And Mikey tells him because they're grave robbing for bullets. He didn't want to, but things are just so bad out there. There's gotta be some way to set things right. There's gotta be hope for someone like him, right? Right? So Batman brings him to the one place that would accept a Black Mask outcast, Father Chris. Huntress makes her rounds for the night and sees Mikey sitting off to the side and asks herself, "Isn't that?" But Batman appears behind her. Yes, a former Black Masker. Mikey is to not be touched. Not yet. Huntress goes in to check how things are, and just as she begins to speak with Father Chris, she notices one other person that has been accepted. Scarecrow. Without another word, she runs over, knocking Scarecrow to the ground, shouting that she doesn't know what he's up to, but she will not allow this. Father Chris hurries over to break the fight, stating that she must control herself. He understands that this man once did bad things. Huntress yells, "He killed people!" And Father Chris says that this is a place of sanctuary. Gotham is no longer black and white, if indeed it ever was. Huntress then says that that monster is a threat to everything that they're doing here. She confesses that her own morality has at times been questionable, but she knows the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. As Scarecrow picks himself up, he asks, "Are you really sure about that?" However, Huntress isn't wrong. There are things that Scarecrow is planning, but what remains unseen. After collecting a dozen of rabies-infected rats, Scarecrow releases them into the church's food storage. When Father Chris finds them, Scarecrow says that it's just terrible. Who could have done this? This sort of crisis would surely lead to the worst kind of human ugliness out there. All these people are depending on you. But there is somewhere that you could go to get more supplies. No. A man in your position must always put morality before even survival. Father Chris asks him, what does he mean? Does he know of a place where they can get food to survive Gotham being separated? With no supplies coming into the city, they're running low. Later that night, Penguin looks out the window watching the GCPD mark their territory. And he says that he understands that they need food. Well, he provides a safe place for his arsenal. Rifles, guns, gunpowder, etc. This really is the greatest supply of weaponry that Gotham has to offer. He has two advantages to make him the perfect concealer. In addition to having an unused fallout shelter underneath the cathedral, Batman trusts him and would never think to search the territory. Father Chris prays out loud, trying to find the strength to walk away, but Penguin tells him that he understands his predicament, and he will make it easier for him. The church does not have a choice in this. Either he takes the weapons willingly, hiding them in the basement away from Batman's prying eyes, or he will simply shoot him and hide them there anyway. Consider the food and medicine a gift of charity. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Leo brings his men to a building said to have housed all of Penguin's surplus goods. But as the men begin to search the dilapidated buildings, one of the men gets punched through a wall. Leo asks what the hell was that, and the man says that this place must be haunted. The exit slams shut, and Batman tells them, not haunted, infested. All the men begin to run towards the exit, trying to pry the door open, but just then an arrow shoots up from underneath the ground and is pulled back down. The second the floor gives way, everyone crashes into the basement, with Batgirl stating, "Yeah, this place is infested by bats." But just as she finishes, explosions go off and Batgirl throws a batarang out of the window to allow the Facers to escape. Once the last of them pushes out, Batgirl fires her grappling hoop into the ceiling where Batman can grab it and pull her up. Batgirl sighs, stating that she's sorry that she let them go, but at least they didn't get any of Penguin's ammo. Batman tells her that there wasn't any ammo for them to get. It was arson and no one would be insane enough to burn supplies. Batgirl then asks what about the false Facer at the Ark Refugee Center. She heard that he brought him there. Is that safe? Batman tells her, so long as my former friends stay away from him, yes, I'd like to think so. But at this time, Scarecrow is convincing Mikey to do the exact opposite. He tells Mikey that Father Chris has received those weapons. They're going to need protection. Protection from, say, your old Splinter Group. Mikey then asks, why would Father Chris not ask him himself, as Scarecrow tells him? Because the father is a proud man. Is there a piano skill? It's just, he didn't want the protection of the GCPD. It would make people here too nervous that things might be run like a police state. Father Chris never intended us to be defenseless. He was just too nervous to ask. As Mikey grabs the supplies and he runs over to Leo's hideout, he tells him that he's got that gunpowder that they were looking for. That's not all. The refugee center wants to hire them as protectors. Wait, is something wrong? Leo reaches down into the crate, pulling out a gun.
After all, it just takes like
and he
a couple sit downs.
Huntress hears the gunshot echo throughout the
to
streets
get
and
better.
rushes to where the sound came from. It's there that she finds Mikey on the ground holding his stomach, begging for help, next to a note that says traitor. While Huntress tries to make sense of all of this, Scarecrow watches from the shadows. Huntress rushes back to Batman, who's been sitting there with his arms folded, telling him that Mikey's been shot. Batman says that there's somewhere that she can take him, but Huntress stops him, yelling she can't leave now. What does he want to hear? That she can't do this without his help? That she's not strong enough, fast enough? She's tired of begging. She isn't here to ask for a scrap. She's asking him to save someone. She has come a long way for him, and she has worked hard to be worthy. Maybe harder than he knows, but right now she's going to need him to trust her to watch over this place. Batman takes Huntress's hand off his cape, telling her, bring him back out. While Batman takes Mikey to Leslie Tompkins' makeshift hospital, back at the church, Scarecrow tells everyone that Mikey is dead. Surely you all know in your hearts by now. What makes you think that your lives won't end the same way? But while he goes around spreading concern, Huntress tells Father Chris that it is naive to let him stay. Father Chris tells her that she's naive to think that he'd turn away someone in need of help. Besides, without his fear-inducing chemicals, Scarecrow is just a man. He's no more dangerous than anyone else in this town. Huntress says that she prays that he will never learn how wrong he is about that. And over in the hospital, Leslie comes out of the operating room with Batman asking, how is he? She pulls off her gloves, stating critical. But he at least has a chance now. And how have you been? I haven't seen you since, well, the fall of Gotham. Batman doesn't directly respond, but he says that he needs to get back out there. He needs to find out who shot Mikey. Leslie pulls Batman's mask off. Bruce. And Batman says,
the music off
why
right
did
now.
you stay? She sits down, stating that she asked his father 30 years ago the same question. Thomas just looked at her with those sad, serious eyes and said, there's still work to be done. Dr. Wayne had no intentions of packing up his bags and leaving. She loved his father, and a part of her stayed with him. But what about him? What made you stay, Bruce? Batman pauses for a moment, and as he leaves, he says, part of me stayed. Just for you. Later at the Penguin's chambers, Penguin sips his tea, stating, kill him. Batman tells him, the boy almost died tonight because of the guns you put on the street. Before he passed out, he said that there were more elsewhere. Where are they, Penguin? Penguin asks, what are you going to do, arrest me? If that's what you think, you're mistaken. As Penguin's men get ready to attack, Batman sprays his spray paint can to blind the guards before knocking them out. He then reaches into his belt, pulling out a small device, and he sets it up, stating, this miniature electromagnetic pulse will destroy all of the generators that you've been hoarding, permanently. He sets the timer for 15 seconds, with Penguin shouting, there are no guns! Batman starts to count, 6, 5, 4. Penguin shouts, curse you! They're inside the refugee center. Batman grits his teeth. You psychopath! And he jumps out the window, leaving the device behind. Penguin rushes over, asking, how do I turn this? But as he looks at it, he realizes the device is just a clock. He smashes it, yelling to his guards that he wants those guns back. Back at the church, Scarecrow comes up with a plan, but for it to work, he's going to need to pull a few strings, and the first step of that is leaving a letter to the Huntress. Later inside of the Gotham Museum, Leo and his crew scavenge through the building looking for supplies when Scarecrow appears before them. He tells them that if they want more guns, the people of the church aren't going to stop you if you tried taking them. But back over at the church, a small child brings Huntress the letter. She reads it, shouting, what the hell is going on here? She heads down into the fallout shelter, and when she returns, she dumps the box of guns that Penguin gave to Father Chris. A short while later, Scarecrow returns, asking, well, what do we have here? Father Chris yells, I had no choice. You must believe me. But just then, Huntress tells everyone to get down, they have trouble. Outside, Leo and his men position themselves, and Leo calls out that all they want is the rest of the weapons. Let them inside and no one will get hurt. Huntress yells back that they have no intentions of giving them anything. If they set one foot inside of her, she swears that they won't come out alive. Father Chris runs out shouting, wait! Don't provoke them. And Huntress spins back, telling him, you don't get to call the shots anymore, Father. Just then, as she says that, Scarecrow yells, oh God, they'll kill us all if we don't do anything. What do we do?
Right.
Oh wait, we have the same weapons as the Batman outside. Find the courage to use them. We must defend ourselves. Huntress tries to calm the unruly crowd, but Father Chris takes down the barricade, stating, he started this, and he will be the one to end this. As Father Chris walks outside, the refugees grab whatever guns they can and they point it out the window. while the Scarecrow sits back smiling. A gun goes off, and as Father Chris checks himself, he notices that he's not bleeding. Everyone starts to look around, and one of Leo's men groans as he slides down the side of a car that they were positioned on. Just then the sound of more guns being fired can be heard, and Leo and his men are gunned down. Around the corner, a group of well-dressed men step out, stating, "We represent the Penguin, and he wants his guns back." Huntress tries to get everyone back inside, but one of the Penguin's men then grabs Father Chris, stating, "If you don't do what we say, the priest is dead." Scarecrow tells everyone, "No, you must fight back. Don't just sit there, attack." Once everyone gets inside, the refugees state that they need to do something. "Look, just give me 5 minutes. If I can't save Father Chris and defuse the situation, do whatever you have to survive." As Penguin's men wait for an answer, the one holding Father Chris has a needle thrown into his handle. Before he has a chance to shoot, Huntress jumps down and starts to take out the others. However, also watching from afar is Jim Gordon and the rest of the GCPD. The man that was holding Father Chris grabs him again, stating that if they don't think that he'll kill the priest, they got another thing coming. But then there's another shot, and the Scarecrow yells, "That's it! That's it!" Huntress yells for them to start firing, but the shooting didn't come from the church. Back at the car, Leo starts to unload his clip, asking if they want to shoot him in the back. Everyone starts to scatter for cover, but as Leo begins to unload, a shadow looms over him and he says, "Oh, hell." After a few moments of silence, Leo steps out of the shadows, stating, "Look, how about this? My 3 guns for the priest." One of Penguin's men that asks if this guy is for real. Why would they trade when they can just shoot him? Another then says, "Allow me to answer that." And he leans over, shooting Leo. When they all turn back, they see Father Chris is not there. And Huntress helps Father Chris back into the church, with Scarecrow yelling, "It's a sign! We have our shepherd back! Now is the time to strike!" Just then there's a creak and everyone turns back asking who's there. Leo yells, "Whoa, whoa, 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 settle down, I'm not armed. He said there was shelter here." Hunter stops him. Wait, if he's here, then who's out there? Penguin's men head down to Leo's body and they pull back his shirt to see the bat symbol. Batman springs up, taking the men out, and Jim gives the order for the men to move in. As Jim looks over the ledge, he sees Batman knocking out the last of Penguin's men, stating, "You can take this message back to the Penguin. Tell him that this block is off limits, permanently." He throws a smoke bomb covering the entire area, and Petite asks, should they go after him? Jim tells him no. For better or for worse, the refugees have someone watching over them, and though he doesn't fully trust their savior anymore, he can trust the integrity of their leader. Back inside of the church, Leo says that it was all Scarecrow's fault. He was the one who told him and his men to show up. Scarecrow tries to deny it, stating that this is the man that killed Mikey. But the refugees grab Scarecrow and they bring him down. The father tells Huntress that they need to stop the mob. They're going to kill him. And Huntress says that there's nothing that she could do even if she wanted. Revenge is human nature. Father says that it's also human nature to bend the force of a superior will. Please, he knows that she can help. I believe in you. Huntress takes a deep breath, stepping between everyone shouting, and she says, "Enough! This is what he wants. If you kill him, you'll make him a martyr."
Right, so
Mikey isn't dead, but he's recovering. There's a great power in fear. It can be used to fuel hatred and viciousness. Yes, but it can also remind you of how much you're loved. Look at the Scarecrow. He's a small man who's afraid. Let us thank him for reminding us how much we still have to lose. All the refugees begin to thank Scarecrow, and they tell him that he will be forgiven in the eyes of God. Once things settle down, Father Chris tells everyone that he will do the thing that he should have done in the first place. They throw the weapons into the ocean so that the weapons may never kill anyone. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Batgirl asks if she can take this thing off. After a few moments of silence, she says that she will take that as consent. As she takes off the blindfold, she looks around and asks, where are they? The cave? Wait, this is a basement. This isn't your main headquarters, is it? Batman tells her, no, it's a cave. And Batgirl asks, what, you got more than one? Batman tells her, these days, you have to be flexible. The basement that they're standing in is the basement of the still standing Arkham Asylum. As Batman continues his crusade to rebuild his name, he sees a group of red devils crossing out one of his tags. He jumps down on the thugs, thinking that he was away too long. These people have fallen so far. These people have forgotten respect. One of the thugs swings a large wooden stick, with Batman grabbing it and bashing the thug into the wall. Another shoots his crossbow, but Batman takes the stick and uses it to catch the bolt and then jumps up, spinning around on the stick to kick the other two. As the men groan from being beaten, Batman picks up one by the hair and holds out a spray can, stating that he can put it back. The thug sprays over their tag to put Batman's back up, and once it's down, Batman throws him, telling him, leave. As another night passes in Gotham, another auction is held. Arrowheads for candy, blankets for bike tires, dog pelts for salt, pigeons for toothpaste. And of course, it's all overseen by Gotham's best entrepreneur, Penguin. He has wrought profit from the lawlessness, commerce from chaos, all for a mere 10% of the gross profits. As a couple presents their batteries for trade, Leonard, one of Penguin's enforcers, checks them to see that they don't have a charge. Leonard asks, what are you trying to pull here? We got laws here, and when you break our laws, you gotta pay. But before Leonard could pull the trigger, Penguin stops him, telling him that he needs to work on his interpersonal skills. The woman says that she's so sorry, they're just so hungry. They would do anything for food. Penguin grabs the woman by the face and inspects her. Well, I'm certain we can find something for you to do. The man yells, get your filthy hands off her! And Leonard pushes his gun into his face with the Penguin stating, you tried to cheat me. Lucky for you, though, I have a soft spot for lovebirds. If love conquers all, then you'll both want for nothing. If not, well, that's another story. Take them away. But while all of this goes on, one of Barbara's informants reports Wynn stating that it's on. A short while later, Batman makes contact with Barbara stating that he needs to know of any place that is having mass meetings.
Please tell me
some place where people gather for
to
worship, trade, anything like that. He needs big crowds. Barbara says, oh, you want an audience? Well, funny you should ask. There's one place that I can think of. Back inside of the theater, Penguin gathers everyone around, telling them that he would like to welcome them to the new Iceberg Lounge. Tonight, for your gaming and gambling pleasures, these destitute souls have volunteered to risk it all and put their very lives on the line to win a cornucopia of consumables. More importantly, a guaranteed position within my employment as a member of my esteemed staff. But how does one earn such a lavish bounty? The crowd begins to chant, Dozer! Dozer! And Penguin says, yes, indeed! You must best the fan.
Alright, everybody. I believe that's gonna do it for me today. Hey, Bravo, thanks for coming by. And I hope you get to see Deadpool and Wolverine soon, as you too, JD. It's always great when you come and check in. Hopefully you can find some time in between work to, you know, enjoy the movie. But, until then, you know, I'm going to be back here tomorrow, for sure. But whether you watch an hour later, wherever you are, whenever you are, I'm Ronan, and you be good out there. Be safe. Just try.